Chapter 361 Missions. It's the next mission. Call Evan back now. Kai sighed, deciding to stop them. Tasha and Ayaka raised their hands as if they gave up. Sophia also turned back and opened the door. Come on in. Ugh. As expected, Isabel is the best, though she is a bit scary. What did you say? The aforementioned person suddenly appeared, but this time she wasn't alone. Tommy and the others followed right behind them. Evan froze on the spot before turning around his body, finding Isabel and the others. How? What? It's just a coincidence. I found you when you were about to enter the room, so here I am. Isabel smiled. And I can know what you are thinking of me. Wait. I can explain, Evan hurriedly replied, trying to calm her down. It's fine, I understand. She patted Evan's shoulder as if she had forgiven him. However, Evan could only feel a chill down to his spine, since he knew there would be something big later. Why are you here? Michelle found this a bit wrong before realizing the reason and glancing over the document. It was then she got the exact reason. You. Isabel nodded. Yes. The mission is a joint mission again, but I think the captain of this joint group needs to be the one explaining the mission, right? Kai let out a long sigh and nodded. Yes. So, take a seat and relax. Michelle and the others then returned to their seat. Evan brought some foldable chairs for the Eagle group, while Tasha made tea for all of them. So, what is this mission that requires us to cooperate with the Eagle group? Michelle asked, and took the documents. Kai grabbed the first 10 papers and handed them to each person, including him. I will explain the basic information first. Before that, I think you should know why I got such a mission. First of all, I asked for a specific request from my teacher. It's to explore a ruin in Peru. The ruin is known as Carol. Of course, I need Isabel as well for this mission, since we were together when we met Rapaka. If you need only the captain, why don't you request her only? Eva asked. I have a plan for that, but unfortunately, I need to do something before we can explore the ruin. Considering there is a high chance that this expedition will be a failure, we will have another mission. Another mission. May I know what that is? Isabel's interest got piqued by this mission. The mission Kai received wouldn't be something so small unless he requested as such. However, Kai wouldn't easily ask for one, so it should be a big mission as well. Some of them had gone for intense training, so she wanted to see the power of her teammates, and the mission from Kai would be perfect for that. I see. So, which mission do you want to explain first? Isabel asked. I will explain the main mission first, which is the exploration. We will go to Corral. In Peru, I will send the details to each of you later. I want to find anything that can lead us to something in the past. I know that archaeologists in the past kept searching for something but to no avail. But we have another aspect, which is our magic and unique ability. We will gather any information there for 3 days to a week, depending on the situation. Kai explained. Not too long, not too short. I guess it's fine. Any monsters? Yes. You must have received many missions in Peru, right? There are many monsters still residing all over Peru. I will explain why when we move to the second mission. Anyway, if we find anything, I will try to split the reward for all of us. Of course, I can't do anything if there is nothing. That's why, if some of you want to return first, I won't stop you. Kai raised his hand as if signaling them he wouldn't do anything to them, whatever their decision. Suddenly, Tommy narrowed his eyes and hit the table lightly. I don't know your impression about us, but our Eagle group will stand as one, even if it means meeting a tragic death. We won't go anywhere else. We will follow the mission until everyone returns. Kai widened his eyes for a second before turning to Isabel. You are blessed with good teammates. Of course. They are my pride and my family. She smiled. We will do the same thing. That's right. Suddenly, Tasha and Ayaka raised the same statement. Why are you competing? Kai shook his head helplessly. I am wondering what the two of you have experienced back in the training session. To think you two are this close now. We are far surpassed best friends now. Tasha gave a thumbs up and Ayaka acknowledged it. Kai only stared at them for 2 seconds before turning his head away, ignoring them. Anyway, this is the main mission. If we find nothing, you will still be compensated, but not too big. So I will apologize in advance. I can infuse some money in the reward too. Don't. Isabel stopped him. We don't really need money, to be honest. What we want are experiences. The only reason why I come here is that a mission that comes from you will be a big mission. That's why I am here. In that case, I don't need to mind about this aspect anymore. Well, that's the explanation for the main mission. Do you have any questions? Kai asked. Yes. Do you think it is possible to have half of us protect us from any danger while leaving the others to explore the ruin? I mean, we need only you, me, Sophia, Ayaka, and Tasha, right? We probably need Evan as well, since there might be toxic substances. He is a moving hospital, after all. Yes, it's possible. We can talk about the details later. Kai nodded. All right, if there are no more questions, I will continue the secondary mission. This mission has a high difficulty because we are going to sweep the Amazon rainforest. The group widened their eyes, feeling weird. In the past, this rainforest was known as a very dangerous forest that had tribes, toxic plants, and beasts. Ever since the apocalypse, we could ignore the tribes since most of them should have died already. In other words, the beasts would be their main threat since Evan could handle the toxic plants. Still, how many magical beasts are inside the Amazon? Michelle asked. There should be at least 1 million, Kai replied honestly. What? They dropped their jaw to the ground, never expecting such an answer. Michelle also found it wrong. Don't we have a base in the surroundings? Yes, we do. This is what I want to explain to you. Kai sighed. The strategy for the North and the South are vastly different. In the North, the army tried to sweep the magical beasts while slowly advancing. This will lead to a lower number of beasts that manage to penetrate their defense. However, the South has a different strategy. Instead of going slowly and killing every single magical beast in sight, they decided to send a large group to deal with a large area. After clearing that area, they will start sending the resources to build a base from the air. They didn't deal with the magical beasts. And this is the exact reason why we only need one more base to complete the formation before every single base sends their troops to all directions to clean up. You can now easily see why the South has more progress than the North. It's due to this strategy, and this one has become the face of the army. With this kind of reputation, the masses will glorify the army, making more and more people join the army. This is why there are still at least 1 million monsters inside the Amazon. In fact, I do feel there are at least 10 times of that. This certainly makes the difficulty significantly higher. Thus, our mission is to kill 50,000 beasts or more within 2 weeks. There are no rank criteria for this, so everything is about killing. And I don't think there is someone who wants to observe this, so it's based on trust. As for the magical beast's cause, we will let the army handle everything later. The soldiers who help will get 10%, the army will get 30%, while the rest will be split among us. This is the mission. What do you think? Kai asked everyone who seemed to haven't processed the information from him. They contemplated the details for a while before Ayaka asked, do we need a base or something? And do we have permission to make a huge explosion? I mean, even though it's a rainforest and the spring is not as hot as summer, we still can't destroy nature easily. If possible, don't use something like that. However, we will meet the rivers, so it's fine there. As for a base, of course, we need a base of operation. I will handle the location later. Are we going to separate or keep sticking together? We will spread out, but at a certain distance, I will make sure about the positioning as well. You have so much stuff, eh? Isabel smirked. Yes, I need an assistant, probably. Kai sighed. In that case, Sister Becca is ready. She can help you in this regard. I will give you her contact number later. Ayaka offered a solution. But I apologize if she can't come to the school. It's fine, calling her is enough. Kai nodded. All right, in that case, do any of you have questions? They exchanged looks and shook their heads at the same time. All right, we will go next week, so you have this week to learn all the information I will give you later. Kai nodded. The meeting is over. Chapter 362, Story. A week later, in the morning, the group had a meetup before going to the Amazon. Isabel came to Kai to ask one question. Considering this area is pretty much an uncharted territory for us, do we need to contribute anything to the government? Kai nodded. I will handle the contribution. They only asked for a map and distribution data, including the data about the magical beast's distribution. There is also a chance that we encounter a dangerous beast, so keep that in mind. All right then. She nodded. Anything else? No. Kai shook his head. The rest will be explained by our operator. Operator, eh? There are not many groups using an operator. She smiled while observing Kai's facial expression. I have my own circumstances that lead to me hiring an operator. Kai shrugged. He then projected the call from Becca on the whiteboard. The two groups stared at the whiteboard, listening to the explanation. Becca's face appeared on the top corner as she presented a map that had been marked here and there. Ahem, hello, my name is Becca, the Lion Group's new operator. After considering a few things, I have decided to accept the job offer, and here I am. Anyway, enough for my introduction and let's go to the main point. I have talked to Kai Carter and came up with a basic direction to where you should go. This is the plan. She zoomed the Amazon forest's left area and continued. You all start from the left side of the Amazon forest. As you might already know, there are still many monsters coming out of the forest that have been hunted by students. However, the powerful ones wouldn't leave their territory just to explore the outside world. In other words, you need to watch out for them. After entering the left side, you all will go along with the river and focus on the lower side of the map. This part alone should be enough to reach 300,000 kills. That's why it's better to take a safer course. I will explain the details then. After reaching the forest, you all shall go 3 hours to this hill that you can use as a base of operation. This is a precious hill that is hard to come by, considering this forest is almost all flat. As long as you have a turn to watch out during the night, we won't have a problem. If possible, make it 2 people for each shift to make it more secure. You can rest for the night after capturing the hill and clear out the perimeter. The next day, you should go around the river before changing your direction on the 4th day onward. This is the diagram. She showed a GIF that let them know where they needed to head, according to the time in the corner of the picture. Kai nodded since this plan was the thought of him and Becca that had a few arguments when coming up with a basic plan. Just make sure to report to me every day, and I will record everything for you. Make sure you return to the base first, so it won't get picked up by the magical beasts. That's all. Are there any questions? The group looked at each other and shook their heads. All right, that's all. Everything will be left in Kai's hand as the captain of the group. Isabel nodded and hung up the video call. Before leaving the room, Kai called a few names. Evan, Ayaka, Sophia, and Isabel. I want you to meet me after this mission, all right? They didn't know his intention of calling them, but still nodded their heads. Without an objection from any member, they walked to the parking lot of the school, where they found 2 helicopters that had been waiting for them. The groups met their respective pilot, and Kai ordered them to move. The 2 helicopters then soared to the sky, flying straight to the military base in Peru. Kai chose this place because it was the closest one to their target. It took them several hours just to get there, but the group didn't feel the trip was boring. They decided to share their experiences during the training. Ayaka and Tasha told them how they saved the military base in Argentina and how they saw them off when they left the base. It was an epic story, considering both of them had saved 1,000 soldiers and turned around the situation. And Tasha's teleportation magic became even more famous since it helped them the most. Meanwhile, Ayaka's commanding ability had grown to a high degree that Kai could easily talk about strategy with her. This was surprising for him, considering Ayaka once was an annoying girl at the beginning. Nonetheless, he continued their talk with his story. They were surprised when they heard Kai's win rate was around 20%. It was already high enough since his opponent was Rhea Ross. Kai once again almost reached the highest level of martial prowess. However, Kai didn't tell them about Rhea's transformation in the last fight and his instinct because he believed the information needed to be classified for the time being. He also didn't forget to mention his doubt in the government, saying there might be a spy there. He warned them not to mention anything to their parents because the spy might not be aware of their intention. They were still high school students after all, the group promised him. After that, Michelle told them the story of her self-torture to achieve greater strength. When the group asked about her new strength, she didn't tell them yet because it was still a secret. However, she indeed could wield a 2-handed sword with one hand, so it was a major improvement. Kai and the others were actually curious about her new style, especially when she called her new fighting style a dance. Nonetheless, the group decided to end it there and gave the turn to Sophia. Sophia didn't mind others knowing about this since she considered them to be close enough to know this. She mentioned a few things about her grandfather, who seemed to be an S-rank magician. Kai had read the article back then and asked whether her grandfather was the famous Force Control, Alan Campbell. She confirmed it. What was special about this person was his intake of wind magic. He used the wind to create an invisible force that was hard to see and hear, allowing him to sneak up on them. However, this power wasn't for assassination, since he was someone who actually led the soldiers from the front. When Kai told the story about Alan Campbell, the group agreed as to how this person could be considered an S-rank magician. However, Sophia also mentioned him talking about Kai, especially about the child part. The group couldn't say anything to her since it was pretty weird. She had stopped mentioning it for a few months, so they just got an aftershock when they heard it again. Either way, they met another surprise when she mentioned the aphrodisiac that her grandfather asked her to bring. Kai also understood her intention in talking about this and couldn't help but smile. She just wanted to tell Kai that she wouldn't use any underhanded tactic to obtain his heart. When everyone became curious, she explained the reason, which turned out to be her experience in this group. After learning from Michelle and the girls, she knew that the best way was this, so she only asked that Kai didn't draw a line between them or intentionally shoved her off. Kai nodded and let nature take its course, which Sophia agreed. This was when the situation began getting exciting. It was Evan's story. They were dying to know how Evan could become a pedophile, which he strongly denied. It turned out that he found Lisa when she played in the garden alone. Lisa found him when he brought a poisonous plant, and it became a misunderstanding. He didn't want Lisa to be near the poisonous plant, so he escaped, but the latter thought Evan was playing with her. She kept chasing him until he got caught. Unfortunately, Lisa touched the poisonous plant in the end and immediately tried to heal her. When seeing this kindness, and probably due to her loneliness, Lisa became fond of him and showed her knowledge in this term. Evan's original purpose was to become stronger, so he listened to her as well after doing his chore from her mother. Lisa became even happier since that day and often visited him. Their relationship gradually became better, but it was also misunderstood by her mother. The mother turned out to be more shameless than he could ever imagine, but Lisa was also one of his shocks. As soon as the mother decided to keep him in the EU base, she suddenly asked Lisa to become his wife, which she instantly agreed. There was no hesitation in her tone either. But what made this even more interesting was the fact that they were talking about this in front of Evan himself. Since he didn't need to meet them anymore after this, Evan played along. After all, he had tried escaping from there, only to get caught by Lisa, who happened to be sharper than her mother. And she was even scarier than her. The first time she caught him, she told him that she sprinkled a poison powder in his clothes, allowing her to keep track of him. The idea became even more and more absurd from that day, until in the airport, she wanted to make an aphrodisiac to capture him, which he declined by running away. Thus, the end of his story. The group had mixed feeling about this, not knowing what to say. Kai only patted Evan's shoulder and looked at him with a sympathetic gaze while saying, "You've worked hard." Chapter 363, Advices. As soon as they arrived at the military base and just came out of the helicopter, Kai found someone walking straight toward them. 2 stars on her uniform came into their vision, symbolizing her to be a 2-star general, which should be known as Major General. She appeared to be someone in her 30s, almost 40s, but they could sense the experiences she had in her life. She must have served the army for a long time. They thought. Kai and the others immediately saluted, which the latter saluted back. "Welcome." She then shook Kai's hand while holding down her green hair from the breeze. "Thank you for having us here." Kai smiled. "My name is Leona, and I am the deputy commander here. I was tasked to guide you around and satisfy all your needs from my supreme commander. Do you want to meet my boss first, or go to your room? I will meet him first." Kai nodded. "After all, I am here only for a mission. It's best to show my face first." "All right, good," she nodded. He then turned around, looking at his teammates. "We can go too, if you don't mind, unless there is something important." Michelle showed her interest in coming to meet the commander. After all, the commander in this place was someone special. Even Leona supported her stance by saying, "I believe the commander wants to meet you all. Let me guide you." Seeing the determinate faces, he finally nodded and followed Leona with the others. As soon as they reached their destination, Leona opened the door while saying, "General Sebastian, they have come." The general seemed to be watching the condition outside the window, since he kept staring at the window with his back kept facing them. Kai and the others could see that this general had 4 stars on his shoulder, symbolizing the same rank as Nathan, Rhea, and the others. Considering they were in a warring state, it was easier to get achievement and rank, but it also came with risk, including to remain to stand by on the battlefield for a decade, minimum. At the very least, the government gave enough trust for the generals to handle everything here. This was reflected by the general's action that suddenly released his killing intent and battle spirit to scare all the 11 kids. Kai and the others sensed this, but all of them had a stronger mental fortitude than average students, so none of them got affected by it. Kai even closed his eyes as if he enjoyed the feeling. When the general turned around, he found that his test wasn't effective. However, Kai didn't stop there. He gradually opened his eyes and released his instinct that had gotten stronger than ever before, terminating every single intent in this room, turning it into complete silence. Leona and even Sebastian were amazed by this power. Sebastian made a small smile and said, "You little brat, what the heck that Rhea Ross made you eat?" Kai smiled before giving him a salute. "Sir, you know who I am, right? General Sebastian, S-rank ice magician." Kai nodded with a solemn expression. "Good. Although we haven't met this whole time, I am glad to meet you now. Your achievement is astounding to the point it made me doubt you. But I guess now is only 40% left from the original 70% overpraise." Kai shook his head. "Haha, I think I'm still underestimating you, especially the one you released earlier." Sebastian shook his head. "Anyway, let's talk somewhere else. Leona, is the usual room usable?" "Yes, no one is using it right now," she nodded. "Then, let's go." Sebastian nodded. Unlike Leona, Sebastian looked even older, might be almost 50s from Kai's perspective. Even so, he still looked gentle and friendly like those in their 20s or 30s. The general brought them to another room, not far from them. When they entered, there were around 100 chairs inside with a few seats as special seats in the front. "Sit first." Sebastian stretched his hand, permitting them to sit while he took the seat near the podium in front. He then placed that seat in front of them and sat down. "So, I have something important to tell you all. This forest is dangerous." "We know, sir. Even so, we have a mission to kill magical beasts in the forest." Kai nodded with a serious expression. No, you don't understand me." He waved his hand left and right. "Do you know the reason why I am stationed here, even though I can go to the military base in Argentina?" The group didn't immediately answer his questions and gave a clear thought about it, showing Sebastian that they were not a rash group. An idea flashed in Kai's mind, and he asked, "Is it the forest?" "Exactly. The majority of this forest is in Brazil, while we have around 13% in Peru. However, what I want to talk about later is the case in Colombia, who has the 3rd largest portion, which is 10%. Did something major happen?" This time, it was Ayaka's turn to ask. "Yes," he nodded. "I started my journey all over the base before settling down in this forest that makes me a general. There is one thing that I want to warn you. The magical beasts inside this forest are more amazing than those from outside. Trust me, I have been dealing with them for more than a decade. The reason I am here is to control the population here to make sure they don't come out of the forest. I don't know if you know, but we have several S-rank magicians, but none of them can be deployed to the forest. Do you know why?" He smiled. "It's to strengthen the defense around the forest," Ayaka answered. "There should be another S-rank magician in Colombia?" "Oh, so that's how it is. The danger is far surpassed my expectation." Kai nodded with a serious expression. "It seems you have understood this." Sebastian smiled before pointing at the screen behind him. "Leona, can you help me open the progress during that big mission?" "I understand." Leona nodded. She typed a few things and showed them a 10 seconds video. The video showed a few colors, which were mostly red, yellow, blue, and green. The blue, which seemed to be the army, surrounded the green that should be the forest. The yellow indicated the magical beasts, while the red was to locate where they fought. In other words, the battlefield. Kai furrowed his eyebrows. "In the last mission, the reason we didn't help you were to maintain the stability of the forest. 3 S-rank magicians were dispatched, including me, and we had around 300 people. How many do you think we lost that day?" It was 50,000 soldiers. What? Kai widened his eyes, never expecting the situation went out of control. Why, I don't know. There was suddenly a movement when we were about to join the mission. When I reported the incident, they ordered Ria Ross instead, and your sister was kind of special enough to be considered an S-rank magician, and the last one was stationed in the north to watch out for the enemy's movement. Back then, we were completely baffled by the surprise attack that seemed to be heading in your direction, so I and all people there fought the magical beasts from the Amazon forest to make sure you were not interrupted. He sighed. Kai opened his mouth in surprise, and the others also couldn't contain their shock. Kai sighed. I didn't know it. That's why I am telling you right now. Every action will have causes and effects, unless you are stationed in the headquarters, or we know as the Ministry of Defense. You won't get notified by something like this unless you have someone to inform you there, or a problem that might have their interference. Even I don't know anything about the situation in the north. We, the field guys, only take care of what we have right now and wait for an order from the central. That's why don't fight with the central, or you might get sent somewhere you hate. Just kidding, Sebastian laughed loudly. Meanwhile, Kai felt this information was very important to him. The fight somewhere might affect other places, depending on the threat level. When he thought this way, the threat of the protectors from the sea became even bigger. Just with them getting found out by the people, they would start raising their force and head there. The other military bases may get impacted by it as well. Due to the lack of soldiers, Kai realized the complicated welfare and had some thoughts about it. No wonder Ria always won against him in strategic battles on a huge map, especially the one that involved multiple places. She never explained to him, but he could understand it now. I see. Thank you for your words, Sir Sebastian. I have found another weakness of mine, and I am glad it's not beyond repair. Kai smiled. Is that so? That's good then. You are the future generations that will need to succeed us. If we are too stingy to share our knowledge and experience, the base will slowly decline. That's something I don't wish to see. He nodded with a gentle smile. Yes. Anyway, back to the topic. Not long ago, we got information from Columbia Base that they found something mysterious. Do you know about the pink dolphin? Yes. Kai nodded since it was one of the wonders of the Amazon forest. They found a pink dolphin again, despite not seeing it for almost 100 years. At that time, the soldier reported as if the dolphin was waiting for someone. Kai and the others frowned, thinking the same thing. Protectors. Chapter 364. Not protectors. Protectors. They had the same thought, but Sebastian immediately corrected them. Nope. It's not like what you all are thinking about. Then, what was it? Kai frowned. Who met the dolphin? We were not very sure too, but according to our scouts, the one the dolphin waiting for had a big shadow, so we knew its size was big. Before we could proceed even further, the scouts said they got taken out by a series of attacks that launched them without any hints. They couldn't recognize what the attack was. He shook his head. Then, the magical beast came from the forest itself. I believe so. He nodded. However, we don't know anything else. That's why I can't venture too deep inside the forest without a huge army. From what my soldiers said, the magical beast didn't even release its magic power, but somehow the power it had was transmitted to them. When I showed my strength to my soldiers, they told me without hesitation that I would die if I faced the magical beast. Sebastian smiled. What die? Can't you escape, I mean? Tommy was shocked. S-rank magicians were the dream of people since they were kids, so it was hard to believe that they would easily die. But before he finished his words, Sebastian already nodded his head, shutting him up. That shadow, don't tell me's. Kai frowned and thought of something. He then asked, was there anything else?
Yes.
The shadow told my soldiers one last thing. Go back, you are not qualified to meet me. Sebastian nodded. This proved Kai's doubt. His expression was darkened as he recognized who the shadow was. There is no doubt that the shadow is a real protector. However, I don't know which species it belongs to. You look like you know something. Sebastian narrowed his eyes, finding something from Kai's expression. Did the message get transmitted in human language? Kai asked. Yes. Sebastian nodded. Kai closed his eyes and felt the gazes from his teammates. Ultimately, he shook his head. No. I feel like you are telling me it's a secret. Is it something that I shouldn't know, even for someone like me? Sebastian asked again. Yes, Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about this. Kai shook his head. I see. Then, do you have a suggestion of what we should do? I don't know. Do you have the location of their meeting? Yes. Are you going to meet the shadow? Are you someone qualified? What are the requirements? Sebastian became even more curious. Kai only shook his head. Someone will meet him. Unfortunately, his identity still can't be disclosed. And my ears will be the guide. Sebastian pondered what he said. Someone will meet that shadow. A human will meet the shadow that has the power to even kill me. Is that shadow an S-rank beast? That might be possible, but there is something weird in this matter. But all I know is the man before I have the ability to reach that place. Despite Kai saying no, he still tried to join this operation by asking another question. Can I join you? No. Whatever you do, you can't meet that shadow, because the consequences will be tremendous. Kai shook his head. He didn't lie this whole time, that someone was him, and he told specifically that his ears would be the guide. The consequence was him knowing the truth about Kai's identity as a protector from the human race. So it was big, considering it would influence the entire race. I see. In that case, I won't talk about this anymore. We are in the military, and there is always the term of state secret. You need to keep advancing your military rank to know more and more secrets. But it seems this one is out of my league. I mean, even in the past, there are some secrets that only the president can know, like the nuclear launch code or some secret treasures. Sebastian shrugged. I have gotten used to it. Thank you for your understanding, Kai nodded. I want to end this talk with one last question. Will it be a threat to humanity? Sebastian asked. If it were more secretive than an S-rank magical beasts or the protectors, it would mean the scale was bigger than them, so he needed to ask this, or he couldn't sleep during the night. Threat or not, I am not very sure. Kai paused and took a deep breath before continuing. But I know it will affect mankind as a whole. Everyone drew a gasp, including Michelle and the others. They never thought Kai knew something like this, and had been hiding the fact that he bore such a burden on his shoulders. Little did they know, Kai just knew about it not long ago, specifically after meeting with the Lion King. Let's go to our main topic then. Since you have thought about that shadow, I will continue about the risk you will face during the mission. For the time being, I want you to not venture that deep inside the forest, because that's where most magical beasts lie. And you might not know this, but you will face rank A magical beasts twice or thrice as many, so keep in mind that you need to watch out for an ambush. I understand. May I know what happened to those beasts that attacked you during that particular mission? I don't know if the timing is right, but they retreated not long after you defeated the S-rank spider. I see. Kai nodded. It indicated the possibility of a protector even more. Someone indeed informed that shadow that looked like controlling the army. In that case, we will heed your words and change our strategy. At first, we are going a bit deeper, but we will only fight around the perimeter. Yes, that's much better. Sebastian nodded with a solemn expression. In that case, you may rest now and start your mission tomorrow. No, we will probably go to the forest first and camp there. Kai shook his head. Is that so? I will lend you 2 trucks since I feel like you will need it. Sebastian nodded. Do any of you know how to drive? Kai, Michelle, Tasha, Isabel, Tommy, and Nicholas raised their hands. All right then, Sebastian confirmed that they could drive a truck and glanced at Leona. Bring them 2 keys, water and food supplies that will last them a month, and 5 tents, including the spare. I understand. Leona immediately left the room and did her job. Meanwhile, Sebastian rose from his seat and looked at the map. Can you tell me your base of operation? Kai narrowed his eyes but still pointed to a certain area. I see. I don't know what you want to do, but I will take my own preventive measures. I will halt the progress of cleaning up Peru for a moment and station my soldiers around your perimeter, which is around here, probably 10 kilometers from your area. Of course, I will be the one handling this matter. And do you think I should let the other bases know about this and ask them to prepare? Sebastian glanced at Kai. Kai didn't know this answer. He planned to meet the shadow, but he didn't know much about protectors, so he couldn't say for sure whether they would attack him at any moment's notice or talk to him first. However, He did know from the Lion King that the protector was not unreasonable, so it increased the possibility of negotiation. It seemed he needed to bring Michelle and Tasha as support. Michelle could enter his body to give him a power boost, so he wouldn't get one hit by the shadow, and Tasha could teleport them away. Fortunately, the protectors usually had no intention of fighting unless they were threatened at first, so after some thought, Kai made his final decision to meet the shadow. I am not sure. I think it's better to inform them, but not tell them everything about this until the moment. I will also bring a radio to give you information to update if something goes wrong. Kai nodded. All right, Sebastian nodded and printed a file for him. This is the report about the shadow and pink dolphin. You may want to read it on the way. Thank you for the support. Kai slightly bowed his head. Don't worry. My US base needs someone talented like you, so I will try to support you as much as possible. Just know that, even though we have pride as someone who has experienced many things in life, many of us still believe in the strength of the younger generation. Of course, there are some that believe you all are still too green, but you will meet 2 in 10 people of the same rank. Kai nodded and shook his hand. Leona then came back with 2 keys and handed them to Kai. This is the key. I have asked the soldiers to bring the resources to your truck, so you will know which one you will use as soon as you go outside. Thanks. Oh, right. Does your teacher know about this? Sebastian asked again, still feeling curious. Yes, she knows. Kai smiled mysteriously before turning around and beginning to walk to the door. We shall take our leave then. Michelle and the others immediately followed him, even though they had yet to absorb all the information he just gave. Sebastian let out a long sigh and leaned on his chair. Heis, the kids around him. I don't know whether they know about how dangerous it is to go together with Kai Carter. Luckily, the one who knows this is me. If he went to the base in Brazil and let that guy know, he would report it and might want to know what he talked about even if he needed to do something crazy. Well, Rhea Ross will surely kill that guy though. Anyway, let's keep this information secret for the time being. Something big might happen soon. Rhea Ross might have told him about your reputation though. Leona smirked. Sebastian closed his eyes and smiled. Fair enough, else she won't send him here. Chapter 365. Meeting the Pink Dolphin. Kai hummed as if he was in deep thought. The others were a bit curious like General Sebastian, but they decided to not ask Kai. After all, he had clearly told the general that he couldn't say anything regarding this matter. Besides, Kai would always be fair. If he could tell them, they would already tell them. Only 4 people had another thought regarding this matter. They were Ayaka, Evan, Isabel, and Sophia. They were the 4 that Kai asked to meet him after this mission, so these 2 cases might be related to each other. To that end, they started looking forward to it. Meanwhile, Kai kept analyzing the data he had, including the map where the shadow was spotted, while the others were either driving the trucks or dealing with the nearby magical beasts. They had no need for Kai's instruction anymore, since Ayaka took care of that. We have arrived. Michelle's voice rang in his ears as the truck stopped. Unfortunately, we can't really go to that hill with the truck, so we need to go by foot. Thank you. Kai thanked her, went to the top of the truck, and looked at the small hill. Tasha, can you teleport us there? I feel like we should bring the top as well. Tasha, who was on top of the truck this whole time, scanned the hill and nodded. But we might need to take care of our perimeter after that. You sure? Yes, Kai nodded. All right, gather everyone. Tasha raised a signal for the others to see. One by one, the group gathered again and came inside the trucks, while Tasha clapped her hand, using her teleportation magic. In a blink of an eye, they arrived on top of the hill. Kai immediately commanded, other than Tasha and Michelle, all of you will take care of the beasts in this hill. Roger that. They leaped out of the trucks and began securing the hill. Meanwhile, Kai, Tasha, and Michelle exchanged looks. Do you need anything from us? Michelle furrowed her eyebrows. There is something I want to talk about with both of you. Kai nodded with a serious expression. Whatever your view later, I will take full responsibility. What is this? This sounds a bit too big. Tasha also began suspecting something was not right. Yeah, if it's too much, you shouldn't tell us. Even though we don't usually keep a secret between each other, there is always something that we necessarily keep secret. Michelle nodded. I know, but this is something that I should say right now. I don't want to wait until it's too late. Tasha and Michelle exchanged looks, and Michelle decided to ask one question first. Before that, I want to know why you are discussing this with us. There is still Ayaka. I have put thought into it, and you two are the perfect ones to know about this. It won't work if it's only one of you know this. Kai shook his head. Is this related to the shadow? Tasha asked. Yes. Tasha and Michelle nodded at each other and said at the same time, So, what's the deal? Tonight, I want to visit the shadow. I am not sure of his current position, but I will try my best to find it. So, is the reason you want to talk about this with us due to our skills? I mean, I can increase your strength entering your shadow, and Tasha has the teleportation magic that can bail you out at any time. Michelle frowned. That's not my original intention, Kai hurriedly replied before they misunderstood. The reason I chose both of you is that your personality suits the requirement to know about this, and I know that you two can support each other in the future. I see, we understand, we won't tell anyone about this secret. Kai nodded. It turns out that I am actually a protector. The atmosphere became silent as they looked at him with bewilderment. You serious? Kai maintained his serious expression and nodded. The two then understood why he wanted to tell them about this. I only knew this not too long ago. Kai sighed. Not too long ago, did someone say it to you? She might be lying to you. Tasha's expression turned grim. Unfortunately, the one that told me was a remnant from 200,000 years ago. Kai sighed. Do you think he would lie to me? Much less with his identity as another protector in the past. This time, Michelle and Tasha had no words to say. They simply couldn't comprehend it, but Kai continued when he saw their expression that asked him to continue. He told them about what he learned from the lion, including the reason for the apocalypse since his life would be threatened by it. Anything that was related to the real meaning of protector. He told them. Tasha and Michelle gradually understood the importance of this matter. I see. So, that's what the protector is. In other words, those fishy guys are not a protector, but someone who actually has enough intelligence to do something like this and might probably be the second colony that is similar to that of the human race. Tasha nodded in understanding. Michelle thought for a moment while stroking her chin. This is indeed something hard to swallow, but I don't have the necessary knowledge to see whether it's a lie or not. So, the reason why you want to meet the shadow is to get the recognition from another protector, right? Yes. I want to see whether I am really a protector or not. This will come with a big risk, but I would rather confirm this first before everything bad happens. Kai nodded with a serious expression. I know I will accompany you in this meeting. Michelle finally agreed. Same. Tasha nodded in agreement. When are we leaving? Tonight, I want to properly face them before everything starts. All right. They then proceeded to build the tents and putting down the supplies. 2 hours later, the group finally returned to the top after killing hundreds of magical beasts. After that, the group had their dinner and proceeded to rest with 2 people guarding the area. Kai, Tasha, and Michelle gathered outside the tent. It seemed all of them noticed their plan and instantly walked toward them. Kai looked at them with a serious expression and said solemnly, If neither of us returns by tomorrow, you all will abandon this mission and go back to the base. Tell my teacher that the human race is in danger. What? Evan wanted to shout because he didn't understand him, but Ayaka stopped him. Although it felt a bit hurt that Kai didn't tell her anything, it was enough to see he brought Tasha and Michelle with him. It would strengthen his strength anyway. I understand. But don't make me drag your ghost from hell. Ayaka glared at him. Yeah, thanks. Kai smiled. He waved his hand, turned around, and walked to the darkness, descending the hill. When they couldn't see him anymore, Michelle entered his shadow. The power from the night strengthened him and became twice as strong. After that, Tasha used her teleportation magic, and they arrived near the river where the scouts found the meeting between the dolphin and the shadow. This is the place. Tasha pointed downwards. Yes, thank you. Kai nodded and scanned the entire area before he noticed a huge number of magical beasts had surrounded them. Prepare for battles. They took out their weapons and saw many glowing eyes inside the woods, and some even waited for him inside the river. Tasha, ready your teleportation magic. When the light from the magic circle brightened the darkness a bit, they finally saw the beasts' figures and furrowed their eyebrows. He thought that the shadow must have prepared for him and wanted to attack him. Else, how could they anticipate their movements? Suddenly, Kai noticed something different from these beasts. Even though they gathered around him, they had no intention of charging at them as if they were just statues. However, the surprise didn't end there. The beasts lowered their heads as if greeting the three. "Lower your weapons, youngsters. They mean no harm." A man voice rang in their heads as if it was sent by telepathy. Kai immediately looked around and searched for where the sound came from, but the fact it came straight to his mind, he couldn't find it. So the source of the voice said another thing. "No need to be wary of me. I mean no harm. Try to look at the river. I am there." Kai and the two turned around and looked at the river with their night visions, finding a dolphin coming out of the river. "Hello, I have been waiting for you." He remembered that the dolphin had a powerful hearing, and with the distance that wasn't so big between their hill and the river, he realized that the dolphin must have heard everything he said. "You want to see us, right?" "Yes, you can, but only you. As much as I want to say another thing, you two need to leave." The dolphin nodded. Kai widened his eyes as he knew that the dolphin already found Michelle, who was inside his body. Michelle came out, and Tasha turned around, looking at him to ask what they should do. Kai thought for a moment and clenched his fists. "You two should return." But Tasha and Michelle obviously didn't like it. The dolphin looked harmless, but he seemed to be strong, so they didn't feel safe leaving Kai here. However, Kai was adamant and asked them to leave again, please. It was a hard choice, but Tasha decided to use her teleportation magic and send them back to the top of the hill, leaving Kai alone. Kai then looked at the dolphin. "Nice to meet you." "Yeah, nice to meet you. The human race finally has its protector again after thousands of years." Chapter 366. Discussion with the dolphin. "Yeah. Nice to meet you. The human race finally has its protector again after thousands of years." The dolphin then glanced at the other magical beasts, and they then disappeared inside the woods, returning to their territories. "Sorry, but the talks between protectors are highly classified." Kai was amazed and observed the situation. "I just realized my identity not long ago." "From the lion?" the dolphin asked. Kai widened his eyes and became on guard. He didn't know how the dolphin could see through him. "No need to be afraid. Don't you know the legend of my race?" Kai furrowed his eyebrows before shaking his head. "Unfortunately, I haven't researched it." "Haha, is that so? Then it can't be helped. My power is related to the mind. That's the only thing I can say about myself." Kai closed his eyes for a second before bowing his head. "Thank you." Oh, the dolphin was amazed by his action. It was considered normal for protectors to not share the information about their skills since their power was necessary and too big to handle. If it was leaked and the other protectors knew, it would be a troublesome situation that might lead to its own death. That was why the dolphin didn't tell him anything more, other than a single clue. "What is your name, young man?" "Mine is TXPTP. Well, in your language it's Tristep or something along that line." The dolphin introduced himself. "My name is Kai Carter." "I see, Kai Carter. I don't know how you gain that ability of yours, including the lion's ancestor consciousness, but I need to remind you, you are the leader of your race, so refrain from getting influenced by those from other races unless you have a certain relationship." "Thank you for the advice. I don't have a plan for doing that for the time being." Kai nodded. "That's good then. We are too scarce in this world after all. Unfortunately, I can't really travel too long because of my limitation." The dolphin sighed. "And the only one I can ask to play with me to deal with boredom is Clot." "Clot?" Kai tilted his head in confusion before suspecting it was the shadow. "She will come to us a bit later." "Well, I have informed him to meet us, but considering her laziness, it will take a while. In the meantime, how about we talk with each other? This is a rare occasion that I can meet another protector like me." The dolphin smiled. Kai thought for a moment and nodded. "Since I am the senior here, how about I teach you a few things that you want to know?" Then, Kai immediately took the chance and looked at his surroundings. "Ah, them. I just asked them to leave us alone." "No. The next thing." "Oh, you didn't hear it wrong. No people should learn the talk between protectors. That's why we are only eligible to become a full-fledged protector after learning many languages that other species use. You know what I mean." "I see. It's a kind of not having a translator, so you need to learn it by yourself. I don't know your term, but I think it's something similar. Anyway, he can't say a single thing about the talk between rulers. I hope that you can adhere to this unspoken rule among protectors. Well, I once ventured outside this place and found two more protectors, and they were the ones teaching me about this unspoken rule, and that's why I chased the two by your side away. Kai nodded. I understand. I will keep it a secret, thank you. Then may I ask the second question? Sure. Ask me anything. Are our existences dangerous? I mean, loving war or something, Kai asked. Not really. Unless you have a hidden intention. We always love peace and want our race to live peacefully here. In fact, even the most prideful lion race doesn't have that ambition. Only the humans dared to control the entire world. And I think there was another one, but I didn't get any information about them from my mentor. Since they started talking, Kai decided to sit down on the ground so it would make it easier for them to talk. Mentor? Yes. My mentor is the granny. Or that's how many called her, including me. She is from whale race. Kai remembered Rapaka's warning, and the whale must be the mentor he was talking about. You seem to know my mentor as well. Have you met her? She told me not to meet her for a few decades, so I was stuck here. The dolphin sighed. I don't know. Actually, I only heard her from someone. Oh, that's good. By the way, are you coming here because you want to meet us, or just to get information for your fake ruler? Kai never expected to hear the word fake ruler from his mouth, but it seemed in the eyes of the protectors, another protector was their real ruler. Nope. I am here just for myself. Kai smiled, assuring him. Oh, the dolphin nodded and felt a bit more relaxed. I am curious about your strength, actually. I mean, the magic particles were released not long ago, so how could you become so strong so quickly? Kai asked. To think you have already gotten the knowledge about the magic particles, I thought the humans had abandoned such teaching. Or did you learn it from the lion? Yes. The dolphin nodded. In that case, I will explain it to you. If you become a full-fledged protector, you will learn how to preserve your power. It's true that the magic particles were released not long ago, but some remained in this world. With that small amount, it was enough to preserve our strength. That's why we didn't get stronger this fast. We only released the preserved power. Now I see. I have never thought that is the case. This is more intriguing, since I have never thought the earth I am living in until now is such a place. Hoo-hoo. Interesting, isn't it? Unfortunately, no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to discover everything. The dolphin fell silent before asking Kai a serious question. I want you to answer this honestly. Are you going to be a threat to this world? Kai looked at him and fell silent for 2 minutes. He was gathering his thoughts to make sure he didn't tell him the wrong answer. Actually, I have no need of power, as long as I can live together with my wives peacefully. Unfortunately, the world isn't that peaceful, so I am required to take up a sword. I can understand that, including that roaming mermaid. The dolphin sighed. You know her. Kai widened his eyes. Of course, I have been observing your movements since that war. I even came to the river near it to follow the situation of the war. What I never noticed you. It's my ability. Well, I even met a group that killed another dolphin. But not from my family. I didn't know much about them, but one of them was far more powerful than the others. I used my power to attack their minds, so they didn't discover me. Oh, Kai narrowed his eyes. There was also a case of the sudden attack from this place. I meant no harm. No, we meant no harm. The reason why we sent the magical beasts here was not to help either of you, but to stop the war by the appearance of the third party. Unfortunately, we were stuck because your human race forced us to stay here. And I couldn't really make my appearance, since it would become a bit too political in the eyes of other races, to stop the war. Kai was bewildered by his statement. He never thought that the millions of magical beasts from this forest just wanted to end the war. I said it earlier, right? We, protectors, are to assume the world's peace. That's our purpose. However, there are still some that want to have a bigger territory, or even the world like you humans. Either way, as long as there is a need to create another calamity, we will, without hesitation, sacrifice our lives. Kai fell silent, wondering whether he could say the same thing. Would he be able to sacrifice himself for world peace? Haha, you, youngsters, only need to stay behind and let the old bones do the job. After all, You still have wives in your generations, but you might feel different in the future. You will stop feeling anything, and might even want to kill yourself because you don't want to live anymore. Some of the protectors killed themselves after all. The dolphin laughed. Kai sighed, feeling a bit relieved. Look, that expression of yours is the one convincing me that what I said is true. He could only scratch his head, embarrassed. Well, the young need to enjoy their lives more, so no need to think about difficult stuff. The dolphin nodded. I just hope that when the time comes, you don't bring chaos to this world. By the way, what will happen if a protector wants to rule the world? I mean, hey, she must have felt stronger than anyone else, right? Nice question. The answer is simple. First, we call the calamity to cause a ruckus in his colonies. If it's not enough to destroy them, the protectors might come together to defeat him and reduce his race to a certain point that almost makes their race extinct. That's all. That. Suddenly, Kai stopped and rose from the ground, looking at the sky to his left. Something was coming, and it was big. Don't worry. I heard her in the last 2 minutes. My range of detection is farther than you. She is our guest. Chapter 367. Joking around in the sky. A shadow came into his vision, backlighting the moonlight and making it hard for Kai to see the species of this shadow. However, one thing for sure. It's huge. Kai narrowed his eyes. The shadow slowly descended to the ground, revealing its true appearance. Wah! Kai stepped back when he saw the protector landing in front of him with that giant body and immediately laying down on the ground. Without any care of its appearance, she made herself comfortable before greeting the two. Yahoo, I have heard the news. Clot. You are finally here, you lazy bum. You know how I operate, right? I rushed here and only got an insult. Are you going to bully me again? Kai couldn't say anything. A few things shocked him, but the first thing that lingered in his mind was the protector. It had a hairy body and sharp claw, but more importantly, it looked like a sloth, but a giant one. Its height alone was around 10 meters. He didn't see it earlier because the sloth was too far, but the wingspan of this sloth was enormous. She looked at him and stretched its claw. The speed was very slow, as if she didn't want to do it, but Kai waited for it and heard her saying, Nice to meet you. I am Maclothesp. This guy calls me Clot, so you can call me with that name too. Kai was startled to see that the sloth was asking for a handshake, so he immediately shook her claw. Nice to meet you. I am Kai Carter. Just call me Kai. So, what are we doing here other than greeting this guy, Triss? She asked lazily. I don't know. We will only have a warm chat with him. And since the humans are spending their time to keep us in check, maybe we can take this guy as a hostage? The dolphin said jokingly. Even though he could feel he didn't mean his statement, he still couldn't dismiss it just like that. Well, I am too lazy to take care of him, so if you want to take the guy, you can do it. For me, as long as they don't reach the deepest area, I won't make a move. After all, they often spotted me in the past. True enough. The dolphin nodded. They were pretty good to my kin as well. So, what do you want to do? She asked Kai this time. Can I access the internet? Kai asked. Internet? Yeah, I want to know more about you. Kai nodded. Show us. The dolphin narrowed his eyes. Kai opened his device and started accessing the internet, searching for their identity or myth in the human database. Not long after, he found the giant sloth's identity. This is me, Clawhost asked. Probably, this is the one that fits you the most. Kai nodded. What's in it? You can't read? Of course we can't. We can only speak other languages. I mean, we only need to know how they talk and construct it in our minds, so we know how to use their language. That's all. Clot looked at Kai as if she was talking to a fool. Yeah, if not, we will need a very long time to learn other languages. That's why most of us only learn languages from the magical beasts around us. I don't know if you have noticed it, but that's the reason why the people of the sea only control their sea beasts. Kai suddenly understood what he meant and recalled all the past events. It was indeed true that the protectors from the sea only controlled the sea beasts. There was one instance where we fought in an underground nest, but it was the Zodiac that controlled the beasts, not him. In other words, the dolphin said the truth regarding them to only be able to speak with sea beasts. This was important information for Kai because it would be useful in future wars. Still, I am confused. I don't know why the failed Zodiacs could talk to the beasts around them. Or they might not be able to talk to them, but the other party was the one understanding them, and those intelligent beasts conveyed the order because the zodiacs were a kind of their family. That was the only explanation. He thought while looking at the sloth and the dolphin. What, you are not going to read it? Clot sulked. Kai hurriedly replied. Of course I will read it. There is not much information around, so I will just say a few things. You are considered the Mapinguari. The people described you as someone related to a cyclops. I mean, a monster that has one eye. And you often got spotted between the woods, making people worship you as a mythical creature or something. That's not too bad, but I am a sloth. That's what my mother told me in the past, and I have 2 eyes. Look at me. Well, this is just folklore. Kai shrugged. Me. I wonder what humans thought of me and my kin. The dolphin asked. Kai immediately searched for the pink dolphin and found more information than the sloth. He only opened one of them, and Clot immediately sulked again. Why are you this famous? Hee. You should appear more often. The dolphin looked content when he won the fight and asked Kai to read the information. You are considered a mythical creature too, but your legend is around how you are a shape-shifting seducer of the night. According to this legend, you morph into a tall, handsome, and elegantly dressed man, and often seduce the wives and daughters. Kai suddenly hesitated to continue when he read further. Puffed morphs into a handsome guy. Hee. This information is perfect. I am indeed handsome. Just look at me. The dolphin shamelessly took pride in the information. I indeed transformed into a human sometimes. Well, according to their brain, since I could create some sort of illusion that made me look like one. And then, I talked to locals and such to improve my language and befriended them. So, I didn't seduce them. You, handsome. That's the last thing I will think of. Clot laughed happily. Oi! You can ask my kin, and they will surely tell you how handsome I am. They must be your subordinates. Clot mocked him even more. The dolphin had nothing more to say. Besides, we are different species. How do I even know you are handsome? I don't even know whether this human is handsome or not. It's because you never went around. I often swam to the surface and met them to know them more. Well, that's where I learned their language, the dolphin snorted. Kai couldn't help but smile when seeing their good relationship. These two must have known each other for a long time. He then continued to look for the next information. It's rumored that you will take lone swimmers to the mystical underwater world of Encante, from which they can never return. Oh, that's my home. I never brought anyone to my home, unfortunately, but trust me, it's beautiful. Do you want to see it? The dolphin smiled. That is something I like to see. But probably not now. I have many things to do. Well, you can only watch around in my home, so I guess it's not very important. You can come back a few decades later. But make sure you come back. All right, I will. Kai nodded with a serious expression. And don't be like this. Girl, she dares to say that my place is not fit because of her extra-large body. I am not fat. You are. Why don't you admit it? This is my slim version. Even Kai couldn't speak anymore and decided to continue reading the article. Anyway, from here, you seem to be inflicting a lifetime of nightmares. In here, it said, if you point out a nearby river dolphin to a local fisherman, don't be surprised if they refuse to look. A weird way to say that making direct eye contact with a river dolphin is a perilous thing that will unleash a lifetime of nightmares. Oh, I sometimes did that, but in my defense, they were the ones seeking death. We were and are peaceful creatures, but they often attacked us indirectly or directly. So I snapped their mind and made them go through nightmares. The dolphin acknowledged it. Well, it was only a year or so as punishment, unless they killed one of us. But yeah, it might feel like a never-ending nightmare. I never thought you were so cruel. Clot narrowed her eyes. Well, they were first. I only retaliated. It's like you who expelled many people when they invaded your territory. True enough. I didn't like them because they often destroyed my place, so I beat them sometimes. Well, yeah. This is how we operate. As long as you don't harm us, we won't harm you. Tell the humans that. And sometimes, those guys go out of the territory and make things difficult. But yeah, I don't really care about them because my kin is also inside my territory. In the deepest part of the Amazon forest. Don't search for it. Clot nodded and looked at Kai with a serious expression. Yes, yes, I also wanted to say that. You can't expect your enemy to not point their sword at you when you are pointing your sword at them. We usually treat humans and other beings in this forest with kindness, and yeah, don't betray that. As for other species, they are under my protection. Probably. Well, only those around my place. You are going to kill some beasts around here, right? Unfortunately, yes, Kai added. Unfortunately, because he felt bad after knowing these two were actually pretty warm and friendly. No need a second thought. Those in the outer layer and inner layer are those who don't need us, so we are not obligated to protect them. Number 4. I belled. Ty-Eld ultimately nodded his head even though his expression was still down. Chapter 368. Advices. Kai looked down. Why are you looking down? The dolphin asked. Clot remembered something and said lazily, That's the human society. Now that you mention it, those people seem to be getting an order from higher up. So, the protector in your race is not that respected. Is only for the time being though, because sooner or later, you will soon be respected and feared. The dolphin nodded in understanding. But I am sure that those people will try to control him, Clot added. Fair enough. What are we going to do then? The dolphin asked and turned to Kai. Kai didn't know the answer. He had never put a thought into this future. Ignoring everything would be an option, but if they aimed at his family, the situation would become more complicated. In the meantime, a question came across his mind. How strong are you two? Me. The dolphin thought for a moment. My ultimate move can make all living beings die. The range is about the core area, or what you humans called a small human town. The dolphin answered. Just a small, natural disaster. The answer from Clot's mouth was something scary, but when she said it with her current lazy attitude, it looked like not a big deal. However, Kai remembered that her power was wind magic. If it was a small natural disaster, Clot must be able to summon a typhoon. Well, my mentor can spurt out a powerful water stream that can shoot you to the sky. If it hits people, I am sure they will die. The dolphin recalled the memory with his mentor. The whale Kai never expected that the protectors could actually endanger the whole world if they acted together. No wonder their sacrifice could cause a calamity that affected the whole world. He looked at himself with a sad expression, wondering, I don't know if I can be like you guys. No need to be down. From what I can feel, your magic power is transferred to someone else. If I'm not wrong, it's the woman beside you earlier. Well, it doesn't matter if you take it back or not, because the base remains in your body. So, if you decide to increase your power, you will be able to do it just fine. Indeed, there is nothing wrong with your body too, so I guess you won't have a problem in the future. Just believe what you think is right, and make a decision that you won't regret. Clot nodded, helping the dolphin assured him. Kai couldn't help but smile. In the humans, he might be special, but when he compared himself to the protectors, he was nothing but a small ant. He realized how lacking he was this whole time. I am really grateful for your words. Kai smiled. I will do my best to prevent the war, but I am not sure whether I can. The least I can do is to prolong it. That's also an option. If you can prolong it until the magic particles are spent again, all people will lose their power. Only us, the protectors, will keep living to witness the change of civilizations. If we deem that they are threatening the Earth, we will call another calamity. The dolphin agreed with Kai's suggestion. Yeah, that's about it. And I think I have one more thing to promise. Kai thought for a moment, gathering his thoughts. I promise you that I won't give any information regarding this place, and if they ask me to participate in this war regardless of the rank, I won't join them. At the very least, I don't want another big war, especially with two protectors. Haha, that's also a good solution, but you don't need to protect us that much. I can see that you love the two girls beside you. If they are threatened, you will feel conflicted. That's why you just need to say the necessary information. We will deal with the rest. And if you think they are pushing you too much, you should inform us. We can help you too. The dolphin assured him again. Indeed, only protectors can understand other protectors. If you are threatened, it's our job to help you solve that problem, because we are alone in this world. No one is as strong as us, and people often fear our strength. Clot nodded. That's why you became a deity in the eyes of people. Clot closed her eyes. I don't really care as long as they don't disturb me and make me do something unnecessary. Haha, you lazy bum. Anyway, your promise is enough for us. Instead of sacrificing yourself, it's better to share it with each other. If you can't trust anyone, trust us. Clot stretched her claw to tap Kai's forehead. So I welcome you from joining the club, new guy. Kai widened his eyes, never expecting the giant sloth to look this cool. Despite her lazy attitude, she seemed to be someone responsible and nice to know. Yes. Thank you very much. I lack many things, but I will do my best. Kai bowed his head. If you learn other languages, you might be able to command magical beasts too, you know. Well, just make sure that they have no leaders, because some usually have. For example, if you try to control the beasts around the outer area of this forest, you'll be able to do it pretty easily. However, it won't be the same case if you go to the core area where we belong. They are very loyal to us and won't listen to you. It might be the same for those fishy tribes. If you try to command them, they will choose the fishy tribes over you. Unless you bring someone like my mentor, I doubt it will be useful. The dolphin kept giving him advice, and everything was useful to him sooner or later. Kai felt the overwhelming favor and bowed his head as well. Thank you very much. Why don't you become his mentor? Clot asked. Nah, I can't teach anyone. That's the pact I have with my mentor. How about you? You can do it. No, I am too lazy to do it. Besides, he is better to learn it from another human because whatever they teach will suit him. Clot shook her head. I am not sure whether there is another human capable of teaching him, but yeah, you seriously need a mentor. Even if it's not a protector, as long as there is someone who understands how a protector fights, I am sure you will become one sooner or later. I understand I will do my part in this area. Kai nodded. He had a clue about their existence and had been searching for them, so Kai took their suggestions and became more excited to find an ancient civilization that still survived. Until now, the problem would be the lack of information. He didn't know whether the ancient civilization wanted to teach him about this, or they might not even be aware of this power because of the passing time. If that time came, he might return to this place to ask for their advice. All right, it's time for you to go. I don't have anything to say to you. How about you, Clot? Nope, do you want to say something? The dolphin then asked. Kai thought for 2 minutes before shaking his head. I just want to thank you for everything. It's all new to me, ha. Don't hesitate to come here. We always welcome a friend. All right, see you later. Clot nodded. See you later. Kai smiled, turned around, and looked to the sky. A magic circle appeared on the ground and launched him to the sky. After that, another pair of magic circles, one above and one below, stabilized Kai positioned in the sky, allowing him to stay afloat. He looked at the two and waved his hands. I am going. Thank you for all the things you have told me. I will keep everything in my mind. Yes, don't forget to visit me in the future. You will be amazed at my place. The dolphin ducked down, swimming at a fast speed. Suddenly, it shot to the sky as if it was his way to send him off. Clot only raised one of her claws. Kai suddenly felt the wind enveloping him, as if protecting him on his return trip. The wind was warm and blocked the chilly night breeze. He kept smiling and flew back to their base. To his surprise, none of them was asleep. They were waiting for Kai to return. You guys! Kai thought they had slept, considering the time was already 3 a.m. We are worried about you. Michelle rolled her eyes. Indeed, especially after you made us leave. Tasha nodded in agreement. Ayaka and Sophia exchanged looks and shrugged, since the two had told him the reason. So, you know about the shadow, Captain? Evan asked. Yes, but I am sorry, I can't tell you anything. Kai smiled gently, not knowing how to apologize. It's fine. I guess all the things you said to that general were a lie, Evan commented. It's not a lie, you dummy. Isabel turned to Evan and looked at him as if looking at a fool. He is talking about himself. Everything is himself. The guide, the ears, and the person. Kai scratched the back of his head. Yes, that's about it. But I hope you keep this a secret. I don't lie about the fact that it might affect humanity as a whole. Don't worry, we know about the severity of this matter. Well, as long as we keep this matter a secret and tell them we have no knowledge about what was happening here, we should be fine. Tommy nodded. There is a drug as well, but everything is very vague, so we might be targeted in the future. Isabel narrowed her eyes. Right. We agree, especially if there is a new election. The change might or might not affect us. Eve and Eva nodded at the same time. Haha, I'm just proud to know someone like you. If it's something because of me, I won't hesitate to throw my life away because of my failure. This is a promise. Nicholas gave a thumb up. Kai smiled as he felt blessed to have comrades like this. Thank you. Chapter 369. Their Progress. Michelle, Kai's shout echoed on the battlefield. Leave it to me. Michelle, whose name was called, immediately rushed to the left of their group, tackling a few magical beasts that tried to attack them. Good. Kai and Evan will handle those on the right. Nicholas, take your position in the front, Eve, and Eva will support him. Tommy, be ready to see an opening. Understood. All those who got called acknowledged the order that came from Isabel and moved accordingly. They were in the middle of the forest, facing around 100 beasts simultaneously, and the one commanding them was none other than Isabel. Yes. Kai stepped down and let the others, such as Isabel, Tommy, Michelle, Ayaka, and Tasha, be the squad leader. During the training with Rhea Ross, he gained the wisdom that he wanted to apply immediately. He wished to train their commanding ability. These 5 people offered themselves to be the leader after he stepped down. Isabel was the captain of the Eagle group, so she obviously had confidence in her commanding ability. However, Tommy was their strategist. The big plan that their group used came from him, so it was obvious he would partake in this chance, especially taking the command of the Lion group. It would be a wonderful experience because he knew the strength of the Lion group, and to think this particular group became even stronger, the feeling was as if he was controlling a group of 100 to fight. Michelle hadn't shown her strength yet because she believed it wasn't the time to make a huge move. Meanwhile, Tasha and Ayaka seemed to have a synergy with each other. If Kai fought them again like the previous mock battle, he might be beaten by them. If it were the past him, that is, Kai showed a big improvement here. Because of his strengthened instinct, his movement became even more precise and sharper. He could take down 10 beasts within 5 seconds. His previous record was more than 10 seconds, so it was obviously a huge improvement. But of course, he had yet to show his main strength, his sonic sword. Evan didn't want to lose and supported all of them by increasing their power to another level with his new magic while taking down many beasts with his 2 pistols. His accuracy went up a lot, and the beasts were at his mercy because of their body sizes that were mostly big. This group kept advancing like crazy, easily surpassing their original expectation. Kai was forced to renew his original plan and timing. The next day, Ayaka and Tasha were commanding the team. Because they had trained together for the past 3 months, they learned practically the same. That was why all of them could find the similarity between their strategies. Still, Ayaka focused on the Lion group and let them become the focal point on every strategy. Kai didn't blame her regarding this because she simply chose a stronger group to be the main plan. Even Isabel acknowledged that. However, they found that the timing became even faster because of her plans. As much as it looked underestimating the Eagle group, she understood the importance of leading a group, which gave her a passing mark from Kai. Different from Ayaka's style, Tasha emphasized more about a team fight, incorporating the 2 groups into one despite their style differences. It was a bit rough from Ayaka's style, but they still managed to take down their enemies just fine. When Kai inquired about the reason for her style, she only talked about how she was going to leave them in a few months and waited for another year until they graduated. In the meantime, there was no doubt she would be in charge of a group, whether it was a big group or a smaller one. With all those strangers, she needed to adapt and made sure of the safety of her group. Kai understood that as well, since he'd been leading many soldiers that he never knew. Last but not least, Michelle's turn came up. She commanded the 2 groups by the book. It was very conservative, considering she was more reliant on the ranged attacks. In other words, Tasha, Isabel, Evan, and Sophia became the focal point of her tactic. This was modern warfare, where they had guns that allowed them to fight enemies from afar. However, her style would surely make it hard for her to fight a stronger opponent with an overwhelming offense. Of course, Kai didn't ask her to change her style because there was one important aspect that this style gave her. Even though it was hard to win against a stronger opponent, she wouldn't lose against a weaker one. If Kai or the other 4 led the group, they basically put up too much on their force. Once they crumbled, it would be hard to recover, and they also needed a fast response to avoid a total loss. Meanwhile, her conservative style made it easier to recover from such a blow. and even created an opportunity to counterattack. To lead thousands, if not tens of thousands of soldiers, you needed to lead a small group successfully. Rhea taught him how he was actually lucky when he won the war. After all, he never had the experience to lead a bigger group and was immediately thrown into a huge war. Rhea showed him how much the commanders actually took his advice and order and incorporated them to make sure there was nothing wrong with his plan. Kai learned a lot during that time and began fixing his mistakes. The precious experience on the battlefield allowed him to fix everything and made him more stable as a commanding officer. So when the others began their training, Kai gave some advice on what he had experienced. This led them to faster growth. In the end, Kai didn't need to help them anymore near the end of their mission. It took them a week and 2 days to kill 45,000 beasts, and Kai didn't even order them. If it was him, he could do it within a week while it took them 50% longer. They gathered in their camp for the last day briefing, since they would return to the base tomorrow, and headed straight to the ancient ruin. Kai took the hot can and a biodegradable spoon from Ayaka, who seemed to be the one in charge of food today. There wasn't much time to prepare since they were going to barely finish this today, so Ayaka didn't prepare any food for them, just some canned food. He sat down near the tents where they gathered. "So today is the last day, right?" Michelle asked. "Yes." Kai nodded. "Well, I am conflicted whether to end this as soon as possible and return to the base before dark, or do it at our pace and rest here today." "Well, the base is more preferred since it had comfy beds," Michelle said. All the girls nodded their heads as they all agreed, while the boys only exchanged looks, shrugging their shoulders. The girls seemed to be more concerned about how easy it was to wash their body in the base than here. Either way, Kai needed to come to a decision. Becoming a leader is harder than you can imagine. Even I can't say myself to be a good leader after learning the true meaning. There are 3 most important things to be qualified as: 1, the eyes to see the entire situation, the planning mind that will allow the group to fight as short as they know the plan will work, and the ability to make a decisive decision. The reason I asked you guys to be the leaders was to discover these abilities. Michelle had the first and the third, but she is too conservative. I don't say it's bad, but you can be more aggressive to pressure your opponent instead of letting your opponents pressure your soldiers. After all, the soldiers will be pressured if they don't know how to attack, as if you are scared. From what I know, even General Ethan had the time where he made a decisive blow that crippled the enemies back in the war against the Rank S Spider. The group morale increased crazily at that time, and it could resurrect an army in a perfect time. Isabel has the mind and the ability to make a decisive decision, but you don't have the eyes to see the entire situation, even though you have that marvelous eyes. In my opinion, you were too focused on one thing. Unless someone asked for a response, you would probably miss that. As for Tommy, you have been the strategist of the Eagle Group, so I understand that you have the eyes and the mind, but you lack the last one. Your order often came too late, resulting in us getting surrounded. Isabel was probably the one who ordered the group during that time, but there might be a chance where you needed to take the command yourself. So remember this. Last but not least, Ayaka and Tasha. You two have a lot of similarities, and yes, your flaw is the same as Isabel, but specifically in learning about the group morale. Ayaka focused on one group while Tasha kept it together. I don't say it's bad, but it's just too much. You can have the group cooperate with each other by changing their roles repeatedly, allowing them to feel good from time to time to a role that suits them. Of course, in the decisive moment, you should send the best one because it's the most important thing to deal the decisive blow. Kai took this time to lecture them, and they seemed to take it seriously as they contemplated their own mistakes. Kai smiled and added, "Thus, the captain for today is No One." Chapter 370, Progress Part 2. Under the sun, Kai and the others were engaging 200 magical beasts that were charging at them. However, none of them actually let out a sound or give a command. Kai, Michelle, Nicholas, Eve, and Eva maintained their front, preventing the beasts from reaching to those behind them. Ayaka and Tommy acted as a buffer to see which one they could kill the most, while Tasha, Isabel, Sophia, and Evan killed the beasts one by one. Isabel kept sniping the ones coming for Kai because she believed Kai's instinct was the one antagonizing them, so most of the beasts came after him. Still, there was a doubt in her eyes when they did this. That guy is seriously crazy in terms of training. I wonder how his teacher, Ria Ross, taught him. To make this brutal student is not simple, Isabel thought, recalling what happened earlier. A few hours earlier, there is no one who will command the group today. In other words, we will do whatever we want to do. Kai smiled, stunning every single person in the group. They just couldn't comprehend his objective in making this rule. Even Tasha asked him, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I am 100% serious. This is for the team." Kai nodded with a grim expression. "We won't be organized then." Ayaka furrowed her eyebrows before pondering the meaning of Kai's order. In other words, today, we will kill the same amount of what we have done every single day for the past week, but with 3 hours less than the normal schedule. At the same time, we won't be talking with each other. Kai explained what he wanted in detail. This is absurd. Isabel slammed the ground. This will just lead us to a casualty. I won't agree with this. There is nothing wrong with the plan. Kai shook his head. We can't talk. Doesn't mean we can't cooperate with each other. Right, Ayaka seemed to have found the real reason behind his order. Kai pointed his finger at her with a smile. Exactly. What do you mean? Everyone stared at Ayaka, wanting an explanation for the whole situation. I'm not sure myself, but that's what I can grasp. Ayaka shook her head in disappointment. I think you should explain the reason. Kai, all right then. Kai nodded. I have several aspects that I want to improve for a group. The first will be individual strength. We are not here to have fun with friends. We are here to fight, so unless the individual strength is good, we won't be able to cooperate at a higher level. Second will be the trust. If you can't even trust your teammate to protect your back, then it's pointless to have a group like that. This is what I want to strengthen. I want you to trust them without even talking or commanding the group. And this will lead to the third aspect, the coordination. It's easy to get someone to move according to your plan, but it might influence the group just to listen to your order, and it will be a guaranteed victory. I don't want this, so I first asked all of you to lead the group. With the addition of this condition, you all should observe what the others are trying to do and try to back them up without even the need for words. I believe you all can do it after a few hours, so let's try it. If this is a success, I am sure that the group will be able to move in a single direction without even a command. When each person in the group can think the same solution they think the best, they will become even more flexible when the time comes. Kai explained everything to them, ensuring there was no misunderstanding between them. When they learned the reason, they could somehow agree with his sentiment and thought it could work in the way he envisioned. However, they didn't know whether they could do it within a few hours. Either way, they would try their best. The only time we can talk is when we gather together to discuss our coordination, or when we decide the way we will go. All right, we understand. Michelle nodded. Is there anything else we need to know, Captain? Only one thing. Make sure you are aware of the people around you, and if you think someone is able to cover that up, don't go there. The closest one will be the one backing them up if they can. That is, other than that, it's free for all. Kai then looked at them with a serious expression. Any questions? After that, they started their mission for the day in that condition. Isabel recalled it and couldn't help but smile upon their first time. It was hilarious and horrendous at the same time. Because of a few small things, the group started fighting each other, but since Kai banned talking, they could only glare at each other. In the end, Kai smacked their heads to cool them off. Still, a few people felt comfortable in this situation because they simply had gotten used to it. As someone who usually helped their teammates from a distance, Isabel and Tasha always searched for an opening to support their teammates without talking, so this kind of challenge didn't pose too much trouble for them. But Evan and Sophia had trouble because they couldn't predict where they were going, considering the attack pattern changed when they couldn't talk and acted based on their own judgment. Not only them, but the people in front were also confused, mostly because they didn't know who they needed to back up when two people had the same distance, leading to delayed timing. However, Kai and Nicholas were the ones saving their asses. Kai aside, Nicholas had been the one who took all the blows for the group, so there was no change in his pattern. As long as someone needed his help, he would block the enemies for them. As for Kai, he kept using his sound blast to ensure the safety of his teammates while taunting most of the magical beasts in the area. This allowed the group to start getting used to their current situation. Kai looked at the numerous magical beasts and used his sound blast to penetrate deep inside their rank. Seeing this, Michelle and Ayaka immediately covered him up by striking their rank from left and right. Nicholas became the focal point to hold the fort, while Eva and Eve began stirring the formation head-on. Bam! A shoot was released from Isabel, piercing the head of a beast right behind Kai. When it was about to drop on him, Kai spun around and kicked the beast to the side, blowing away all the magical beasts on its way. Michelle, whose path was cleared, found a way to go to Kai, so she immediately picked her pace and sneaked around, finding another magical beast wanting to attack him. She planned to kill it before it reached her, but a wolf leaped through the group, aiming at her, but the momentum was stopped by an arrow that pierced through its head. The corpse fell down to the ground, hitting another beast in the process, thus slowing it down. It was obvious who was the one releasing the arrow. Michelle took that chance and struck the beast in front of her. When she leaped past the beast, she found Kai's hand over his head, as if asking her to grab his hand. Understanding what he wanted to do, she released her shadow sword and grabbed that hand tightly while maintaining her balance. She then formed a sword on her feet, and had even made a portion of her legs to be covered with shadow. Kai then swung her around with that longer reach, cutting down all the nearby monsters that just surrounded him. After getting that breathing space, he then leaped diagonally to Ayaka's way, as if he was trying to cut the beasts that came to Ayaka. Michelle swung her sword down. Shadow slash. The sword strike formed a line in which cut down everything on its way. Kai smiled when he saw that line. It was precisely where he was going, so he acted as a buffer to prevent any more monsters from coming to Ayaka, while Michelle helped Ayaka. It was a brief moment before there was an explosion that decimated the magical beasts. However, due to their environment, the fire spread in the area and might cause a forest fire. At this time, ices rained over that area and extinguished the fire over time. Ayaka gave a thumb up to Tommy before continuing the fight. Tommy smiled and looked in another direction where the magical beasts appeared because of the explosions. When he was about to stop them, Nicholas appeared before them and took their attention. Tommy used his chance to put his hand on the grass and froze the field, trying to slow down their speed. Obviously, most of them slipped and slid over the ice. Nicholas stopped them completely with his shield, so none of them hit Tommy. As soon as they stopped on their tracks, Eve and Eva appeared from the sides, obliterating them with the unique coordination that only twins like them had. Not long after, Kai's group also had done with their portion and relieved the entire situation. Without even saying anything, they managed to coordinate together in order to defeat hundreds of enemies. All four, who were sitting on the back, watched all this and felt impressed. "This is amazing," Isabel said in amazement. "Indeed." Tasha nodded her head, liking the current development. "No talking. I don't want to get smacked again," Evan warned them. "The battle is almost over anyway," Sophia shrugged. Kai, who heard all of it, turned around, making all these people tense. However, a smile soon appeared on his face as he said, "Indeed, everyone is good." Chapter 371. Troubles seeing the confirmation from Kai. They all couldn't help but smile. After experiencing the leadership of a few people, they understood each other better and knew what they were about to do, leading to a condition where they didn't need to adjust their own part that much. It seemed Kai had been planning for this during the training. Isabel, whose group benefited from this development, was thankful to him. Surprisingly, they managed to get the highest record of killing monsters with an astonishing number of 1,000 magical beasts in an hour. This was the highest point even during this mission. This showed how important it was to keep the group going without giving a command. After finishing his task, they gathered again in the truck with amusement, staring at today's hero, Kai. "What?" Kai put on a weird expression. "Nothing. It's just, I wonder what is your plan next?" Isabel smiled. "I have no plan. Only go back to the base and begin investigating the ruin tomorrow." Kai shrugged. "Oh," she nodded. "There should be many monsters around there, right? Probably. I will split the group into two. The first one will be the defense group, holding the fort from any attacks outside the ruin. And the second one is the exploration group, which basically consisted of me, you, Sophia, Evan, and Tasha." The group nodded. Ayaka then asked, "Who is going to lead the outside group?" "In this type of situation, Tommy will be the head while you take the vice position." Ayaka and Tommy exchanged looks and nodded at each other. "Everything is settled then. If none of you don't have anything to say, should we go back right now?" Kai asked. "Sure, it's almost 4 p.m. right now, so it's the best time to leave," Isabel agreed Tasha. Kai checked them again before calling his sister's name. Sure thing. Tasha nodded and clapped her hand as a pink magic circle appeared on the ground, swallowing them and the trucks. In the next second, they arrived at the bottom of the hill and immediately entered the trucks. Tasha and Kai protected the first truck, while Michelle and Sophia handled the second truck until they arrived at the base. The journey didn't take too long either, only 2 hours, and they reached the base before the sun completely set. Can you guys take care of the equipment? I will report to the general first, Kai asked. Sure thing, Isabel answered, while the others gave a thumb up to him, telling him to consider it done. Kai then headed straight to the general room, after finding him still inside his room. Knock knock, come in. Kai knocked on the door first before entering the room, seeing the general still doing his job. How is the situation? Kai was confused by this question and realized what he was asking for. I have gotten a clue, and I will try to bring someone to it to check the actual condition. From my guess, it's something big and strong. There is a possibility of another S-rank magical beast. Kai only illustrated the protectors as S-rank magical beasts, since it was the only way to describe them as of now. It also helped him smooth everything up, shutting all the people up from their useless questions. S-rank magical beasts. The general narrowed his eyes. This is not good. It's still under investigation, so let's calm down a little bit. The general glared at Kai for a few seconds before taking a few deep breaths to calm him down. So, there is a suspicion of another S-rank magical beast. This will need serious action from the higher up. I can understand that, but considering this beast doesn't really show itself too often, do you think it's like the Brazilian wandering spider? Sebastian contemplated, but ultimately shook his head. True enough. This one is clearly hiding, so there is a chance that it is not as aggressive as the spider. But it certainly needs more caution than you think. First of all, the appearance of a new S-rank magical beast alone will make our foundation unstable. As you can see, the reason why we can spread to Argentina is that we have killed the last S-rank magical beast. With another threat in our back, the people in front will realize they are isolated from other bases and need to watch their back. That's why the central government wants to keep the investigation going to confirm whether the Shadow is an S-rank magical beast or not. And with how you described it, this beast must be an intelligent one, far smarter than the spider. There is a possibility of communication and planning which make it worse. In any case, I will be reporting this to the central. Kai understood Sebastian's concern and didn't say anything regarding it. He only added one thing. I don't know their location, so this investigation might lead to a big number of casualties. From what I get, someone on my side is telling me to go back and not to make any contact with this creature, so I won't accept a mission like this, including the Eagle Group, even if it means using my teacher's influence. Sebastian narrowed his eyes. Using his teacher's influence was the last resort and the most powerful one. In fact, among the army, Ria Ross was more revered than the president. This could endanger the entire base, because if she wanted to do a coup d'etat, it would lead the base into chaos. Luckily, Ria Ross herself never intended to do so as long as she got her own freedom to do research for her student, Kai Carter. But when the government did something excessive, Ria Ross would surely become enraged. She, who wasn't even an S-rank magician but had the power surpassing that of an S-rank magician, was a serious threat. But at the same time, if they removed her just like that, there would surely be huge unrest in the military, resulting in the soldiers to start doubting the government. After all, it was easy for them to think, if we continue our service and become someone powerful, the country will surely eliminate us unless we become their slave, not their soldiers. Little by little, the army would be destroyed from the inside, and the protectors who were threatening the South America continent wouldn't leave them alone, resulting in a catastrophic defeat. If that was all, they only needed to gather another batch of soldiers to reinforce them. But the economy in the base would collapse and the people would grow unrest. There was a possibility that many elites in the country would defect and the base would start declining. That was how big Ria Ross's influence mattered. So, as long as both the government and Ria Ross gave each other respect and negotiated, they should be fine. Sebastian thought hard regarding this matter and let out a long sigh. You are even more mysterious than the information I have. Not only is Rhea Ross a talented person, but her eyes in finding another genius are also the same, I guess. No, should I say, geniuses are attracting each other. I am not a genius, just thinking a bit more than your average guy, Kai replied humbly. But thank you for the praise. Thinking, huh? Sebastian took out his device and handed it to him. This is the report regarding Peru. I know that you have researched the area, so I am just supplying the data about the magical beasts. There are approximately 3,000 beasts around the place, so I want you to be careful. Don't worry. My teammates are strong, and I trust them. Kai made a genuine smile. When Sebastian saw that, he nodded his head. Since that is the case, I won't need to worry about you. But trust me, the moment the news about the new S-rank magical beast is out, including your information, there will be chaos anywhere. And I'm afraid that you will be involved in that storm. I understand I will be careful. Well, you are going to the EU base in a few months, right? Yes. You won't feel it that much then, unless there is something big happening. Just hope there isn't. Ah, how I hate humans. They are so greedy to the point I want to cut them down myself. Sebastian let out a long sigh. Don't be swallowed by them. You understand, Kai smiled. Just like how he expected, the government would surely take advantage of his ability if they knew about his identity as a protector. And this was the bigger storm than the one in Sebastian's mouth. He was facing this big storm, so how could he not be prepared for a smaller one? Kai took another look at the report and got a few key information. I will send the information after this. Do you need anything? I don't think so. My teammates are doing great in taking care of the equipment, and they are now replenishing our supply. As long as I have the information, we'll be set to go. All right then. If you have anything, just inform Leona in the room next to mine. She will prepare everything for you. Understood. Then hereby my order. Sebastian's expression turned serious. You and your group are to head to the ancient civilization Corral. I will be leaving the details to you, Kai saluted. Yes, sir, then, go rest well from your fatigue first. Sebastian then dismissed him. Kai nodded once again before leaving the room. When Sebastian saw his back, he sighed again while scratching the back of his head. This is going to be troublesome. He is like Rhea Ross. They both are geniuses, but somehow pull many troubles to themselves like a magnet. I will just retire when there are 4 stars on his shoulder, so I don't get pulled into another storm anymore. Sigh. Chapter 372, Night Fight. The next day, the group gathered again in the field after a long night's sleep. I guess you all had a nice sleep last night. Kai smiled when seeing their complexion. Of course, unlike the sleeping bag, the bed is justice. Michelle nodded with a serious expression. Anyway, we will have a long journey this time because the base is a bit far from our destination. We are ready for that. Isabel nodded while Ayaka asked, what is the ETA? It's about 12 hours of driving, or should we teleport there? Kai glanced at Tasha. That's the best. But sometimes you can find something that might lead to another important thing. So it's best to ride there, Tasha answered with her personal experiences. Fair enough. We indeed found something like that a few times in the past. Kai nodded in agreement and turned to everyone. That's how it is. Any objections? Just one. Tommy raised his hand. The journey will take a long time, so any shifts for the driver? Yes. We will switch every 2 hours. Kai nodded. I don't want any of us getting too tired when we get there, and we don't want to get there too late. So we are moving at 5 a.m., which is 30 minutes from now. After Tommy's question, they didn't have any more questions. Kai then instructed them to prepare all the things they needed. When they were going to the truck, he found Leona, who seemed to have predicted him, Commander Leona. Do you need anything from us? Kai furrowed his eyebrows. She looked at his teammates and made a complicated expression. We can talk over there. Kai pointed his finger to the side. Nodding her head, they walked a bit farther from the group. Leona still had complex feelings about this, but she still reminded Kai. There is a hidden danger in your mission. General Sebastian forgot to mention it yesterday. So, when I learned that you were going to leave right now? Yeah, I came here. What is the danger? Kai frowned. Is it on the way? Or in the ruin? On the way? She thought for a moment and sighed. There is a huge group in your way, so I think you will be meeting them soon. How big? From what we know, There are at least 2 intelligent beasts and 2,000 beasts. They just descended from the mountain a few days ago. We only stopped the mission for students and create a relief squad to fight them. So, you are going to fight with us. That's the original plan, but the general wants you to clear it yourself. We can handle that, but it's going to take a bit of our time. Kai thought they needed at least 2 days to arrive at the ruin, now that he knew there were thousands of beasts in their way. I will help you in any way I can. After all, the one who is supposed to be the leader of this relief squad is me. It's fine. I don't have a problem with this. I just need more supplies. Kai shrugged. We are a few days ahead of our original schedule anyway. I am sorry to bring you more trouble, but I will report it, so you will be rewarded. Leona nodded before giving a salute. In any case, congratulations on your advancement, Brigadier General Kai Carter. Kai saluted back before turning back to his usual way after putting that hand down. Well, it's not official yet. Haha, there is no doubt that your achievement has surpassed many of us. I mean, it's already hard enough to kill 50,000 magical beasts with just a group of 10. Along with the other achievement, you have enough achievement to have that star on your shoulder. Just ignore those who are salty about it. They have traditional ways of thinking. Rather than believing in the younger generations who will lead the base in the future, they are just too proud of their own achievements, consciously or unconsciously. Kai made a small smile. Thank you, she patted his shoulders while smiling. I feel like I will see you again soon. That's why I really want to see what kind of person you are. Ahahaha, hope we don't meet too soon. After all, it will be a war. Although Kai said it in a joking manner, they both knew it was true. Kai then nodded his head and returned to his teammates, telling about his discussion with Leona. As expected, the group felt it was a hassle. They could simply leave it aside and let the army take care of it, but Kai persuaded them. In the end, they agreed to fight those beasts. The group then finally set off from the beasts, heading straight to Corral. As expected, many beasts that were scattered around the road began their attacks, but Kai and the others simply eliminated them. They weren't that big of a deal anyway. After returning inside, Kai checked the map and information about the horde of beasts. It seemed they were going to meet them later that evening, so Kai purposely slowed down their pace so they could meet the group of magical beasts tomorrow morning. Ultimately, they covered enough distance on the first day and decided to stop. Kai, what are the 2 intelligent beasts? Isabel asked. The group was also curious about it and listened to what Kai said while eating. The first one is a snapping turtle, while the other one is an eagle. Snapping turtle. Michelle seemed to have found the weird thing in the report. Kai had been thinking about it too, but in the end, he gave up. I know snapping turtles normally live in the wetlands, so I don't know where this one comes from. As for the eagle, I think it's possible. They are also dangerous. I know, one snap, you are gone. I don't know whether the exoskeleton can withstand its jaw or not, but our weapons are surely not able to withstand it. Kai nodded. This has become annoying. Michelle scratched the back of her head. I mean, I don't use normal weapons, so I don't need to worry about my weapons. But the others are. Anyone brings a spare? None of them raised their hands. Kai was special, so he obviously didn't have a spare. It was hard to create it, even for Rhea Ross. Yeah, and there is a good proportion between the flying beasts and those on the lands. So it will be a difficult fight for Isabel and Tasha. Well, I will be helping you guys after finishing the fight on the ground. I will too. Ayaka and Evan immediately raised their hands, followed by Sophia. Thanks for the help. Just focus on your task first. We should be able to stop them for a while. Tasha smiled while Isabel nodded in agreement. All right. We will observe the situation tomorrow, and the arrangement will come after it. Okay. Kai ended the discussion. Kai, they lazily answered and finished their food. During the night, Sophia, who was in her shift, suddenly opened the tent and shouted, "We have an emergency." However, Kai had already woken up as soon as he heard the numerous footsteps. When she warned him, Kai was waking the others up while coming up with a plan. Wake the others up first, Kai asked her while pondering the matter. When the girls heard that shout, they woke up almost immediately. What happened? We are in a bad situation, Kai answered with a meaningful reply. What do you mean? Let's have a talk with the others, so we don't waste too much time. There are approximately 10 minutes before they arrive here. Kai then left the tent, followed by the girls Evan, and the others also came out while looking at Kai, wanting to know his order. I think you should be the captain in this situation. Isabel instantly asked him to take the position because no one knew how to handle this situation. Kai nodded. I never thought that they were charging at us. No, probably they are aiming at the base. To think they have reached this far with only one day. They probably will reach the base by tomorrow morning. In other words, we need to stop them in this darkness. Kai looked around and knew that they had limited sight. It was so dark because their only source of light was the moon and stars. This was why they refrained from continuing their journey during the night. Thousands of beasts in this condition. If I am not wrong, beasts have good eyesight during the night. Well, most beasts, probably. At the very least, I only know that the beasts coming here have that ability because there is no way they will come if they can't see. Kai nodded with a serious expression. For the time being, I, Ayaka, Evan, Sophia, Isabel, and Michelle are the better option to fight in this darkness. Well, we also brought night visions, so it's better than nothing, Kai thought for a moment. However, the rest will mainly protect our camps and support us from the back. All right, understood, night, huh? Michelle looked down for a few seconds, grabbing the group's attention. Suddenly, she began to stretch her body and put on her equipment. It seems I need to work a bit harder tonight. Shadow began streaming off her body, knowing that she just used the technique to increase her power during the night. The ants had good eyesight in the dark, so Ayaka was capable of fighting in the front line, along with Evan and Michelle. Isabel would remain in the back. They took their positions with Kai and Michelle on the very front. Are you going to enter my shadow? Kai asked. Nope. I am going to show you something more interesting. Michelle made a mysterious smile. Chapter 37:3. Dark Michelle. The silent night was broken by a series of roars. Kai and the groups put on their night visions and found many beasts coming their way. Tasha, Isabel, they have entered your range. Finish them, Kai commanded when the beasts were only 1 kilometer away from them. The two smiled. Isabel pressed the trigger, releasing her first bullet. However, she didn't hold back from the very first shot and used her magic to boost the first bullet, Wind Boost, next to her. Tasha also released her bow. In front of it was a magic circle. Storm Arrow. The arrow went through the magic circle and turned purple, flying up to the sky. When Isabel's bullet reached halfway and Tasha's arrow reached the highest peak, they both smirked while saying, "Disperse." In an instant, the bullet burst out, releasing a couple of wind bullets. Despite its small size, it turned out to be filled with compressed wind. The moment it hit the magical beasts' heads, it exploded, destroying their heads in the process. They then started going down, resulting in instability in their rank. Many beasts went around or leaped above them, but some were unlucky enough to trip over their dead bodies. At the same time, Tasha's arrow also turned into lightning that gradually spread into a few branches, hitting the beasts and electrocuting some of them. The result was similar to that of Isabel. Kai narrowed his eyes and raised his visions. The flying beasts, what are we going to do? One more volley attack, and you two can start killing those flying beasts, Kai shouted. Roger. The two replied while releasing their second attack. There was one more catch in their attack. They didn't target those in the middle. Instead, they killed those on the outer side to make a wall of magical beasts on the side, forcing them to go to the middle where Kai and Michelle awaited. At the same time, Sophia and Evan readied their magic. Evan changed the bullets in his pistol to the explosive bullets, while Sophia summoned a magic circle. Bang! Evan released his bullet to the left side, where Isabel previously hit them while Sophia was on the other side. Following Tasha's attack, the bullet landed and exploded, creating another block of dead bodies. Continue. Kai tried to calculate the best way to make a wall, but Michelle suddenly summoned her shadow as they both stood on each side. This is the width. To his surprise, both of them could say something. It startled him and looked left and right. If it were the real Michelle, he wouldn't be this surprised to hear her talking, but the one on the right was clearly her shadow. Yet, it also could talk to him. What he found on the other side turned out to be another Michelle. Although it was a bit different, he could see that it also contained Michelle's personality. Unlike Michelle's blonde hair, she had white hair, along with her golden eyes that shone brightly inside her white eyes that seemed to have turned black. There was nothing he could spot other than her slightly tanned skin. Yahoo! She waved her hand to Kai with a big smile before walking to him and grabbing his chest as if she wanted to seduce him. Handsome. Are you free tonight? What? The others couldn't help but look at them. The real Michelle was embarrassed and shouted, all of you continue. Don't think too much about my dark side. Dark side. No, no, I am not your dark side. I am the real side you have actually abandoned. I am the desire that you have suppressed. I know that you are always trying to find a way to seduce him. The dark, Michelle smirked. Stop! She screamed. Her face was red due to this embarrassment. Kai suddenly remembered why Michelle became a bit weak-willed after the training, and how she actually tried to hide behind him when Ayaka and Tasha teased him. He finally understood. It was the girl before him. She was the reason why she looked like this. Although it didn't affect her daily activity, it was still visible to everyone who knew her. So, is this a kind of dual personality? Not at all. Just like you, there is always a need to maintain your appearance in public. No, something similar but a bit more extreme. She has a skill that can terror you with your own shadow, and because of some weird things that happened, I was born, she explained. We can talk about this later. For now, we need to handle this. Kai turned around and asked, can you fight? I am basically the second her. Of course, I can. She made an excited smile as she looked at the beasts. All right. Kai nodded and observed the situation before shouting to the team, Nicholas, Tommy, ready for a wall. Understood. The two men leaped from their position to the front, a bit farther from Michelle and Kai. After Sophia's and Evan's continuous attacks, the slanted wall that kept shrinking to the middle was finally erected. When Kai saw that it was enough, he shouted, now. Tommy and Nicholas placed their hands on the ground as they both used similar to magic. Ice wall, great wall, 2 walls were erected, facing each other. Between them was a gap for about 15 meters, so Kai and Michelle could handle everything that came toward them. You two will handle those that get past me, Kai said, while looking at the beasts that started swarming inside the gap. Nicholas and Tommy were strengthening the walls with their power, so they couldn't fight in the meantime. Kai ordered the twins before he proceeded with the attack. Eve, protect those two. There are also some beasts that go around this trap. Take care of them. Roger that. Eve and Eva replied at the same time as they chose their own side respectively. Evan, Sophia, you support all of us to whoever needs it. And Ayaka, blow them up, Kai shouted, while taking out his swords. Ayaka made a sinister smile as she summoned her fire wings and flew to the sky. Leave it to us, the trio replied. With this, all people had their own responsibility. Kai, who had distributed it well, finally had the chance to start his own fight. The first thing he did was releasing his fighting intent that had combined with the lion instinct. It provoked the enemies as if there was a king of the jungle trying to make them submit. However, Kai's instinct couldn't be compared to that of the Lion King. That was why the beasts were enraged instead. This was Kai's actual purpose. Now that he had gathered their attention, he could finally begin his attacks. Before he made the first move, the two Michelles summoned a scythe at the same time. They stood next to the wall, with the scythe above their heads. Let us do it first, the dark Michelle smiled. Their movement was exactly similar, and they even released the same attack, Shadow Slash. This might be the upgraded version of her manipulation doll magic. Instead of using another person's shadow, she enhanced her own shadow to have the same ability as her. This way, they needed to fight 2 Michelles at once instead of 1. The 2 shadow slashes ran through the ground, cutting the beasts near the wall. It continued until it lost power, in which the dark Michelle lost. Ah, no way. She pouted and looked at the real Michelle. The ones in your line are weaker than mine, so I still win. Whatever, I am too tired to argue with you. Michelle shrugged before retracting her spear. After that, she summoned 2 giant swords in each hand. She had seen this Michelle when she truly didn't want to argue. In that case, she chose the same action and summoned the same swords as Michelle. We are going first, both of them said at the same time as they leaped toward the enemies. The moment they arrived, they struck the first enemies with the same one swing, showing that both of them were the same. However, it soon changed to another because it was the sword dance that Michelle had been practicing. Using that kind of big sword would make your movement sluggish. But this dance had conquered that weakness. As long as it wasn't disrupted, they could continue overpowering their opponent. Kai watched the two and decided to start as well. He ran toward the group of magical beasts that seemed to be swarming the two Micheles. His swords were on his chest as he activated his sonic sword. The powerful sonic boom finally made its first appearance in front of his teammates. Kai swung both swords to a giant toad that blocked his way. The swords cut the body like cutting tofu. The blood was blown off by the powerful shockwave, and the body was shredded into pieces. The rest of the shockwave and the shredded body were blown away to the side, attacking the monsters on the two sides at the same time. Kai knew that the two could handle their own opponents, so he kept moving straight without needing to block or dodge because everything in his way was gone in an instant. The two Micheles widened their eyes, never expecting that his advance was like that of a bullet. The dark Michelle couldn't help but comment, "Seriously, I can't beat that." "Do we?" Michelle looked at her dark side with a dumbfounded expression. The answer was obvious. They looked at each other for a second before the dark Michelle looked at Kai's back and said out loud with a seducing tone, "Darling, you are so cool. How about a threesome later in the base?" The people on the back, especially Tasha, Ayaka, and Sophia, looked at her with a weird expression. Shameful Michelle. The real thoughts she suppressed this whole time. Yes, shameful Michelle. Stop. Chapter 374. Killing two intelligent beasts. You all, I will make sure to have you face your own reflection and use my magic to make them alive. At that time, everyone will know what you honestly think about others. Michelle gritted her teeth while glaring at them. As soon as they heard that threat, they were stupefied and scared at the same time. Normal people would always hide one thing or another that they thought was fine to bear, but if their honest side blurted it out, they would surely dig a hole for themselves. For themselves? No wonder Michelle became mild a bit after the training. She must be training that cursed magic. After that threat, no one made a joke anymore, lest Michelle would do it. Little did they know, Michelle would surely do it, no matter what they did next. This way, the group could know what kind of secret they held, so they had no more shame to say anything to the group. Kai, on the other hand, kept advancing forward until he became a bit frustrated with how these people did in this dire situation. "All of you, move your asses." "Why, yes," the group shouted at the same time, knowing that Kai was pissed. Kai's advance wasn't unstoppable. Even the magical beasts couldn't surround him due to his speed, sonic swords, and the width of the gap. It was perfect for Kai to show his superiority, only letting some past him. The two Micheles immediately killed them and followed him right behind, killing those that were beside him. Of course, they didn't dare to stand right next to him, because they would get blown away by that sword. It was a very dangerous sword that could cause more damage than his vibration sword. No, in fact, it appeared to be an upgraded version of his vibration sword, since the sword needed to move back and forth faster than his vibration sword to create a sonic boom. At one point, Kai managed to clear the entire gap by himself. Before he could do anything, he retreated a few steps back as he noticed an eagle flying above him. That eagle looked different. Even his instinct told him to retreat. "Michelle, go back," Kai shouted Sophia above. "Ah, I am called too. The Dark." Michelle was thrilled. She thought Kai would only call the real Michelle. It seemed Kai had seen her as another personality, thus treating her differently, even though the essence was the same. Either way, they both nodded at each other and started retreating according to his order. Sophia, who was occupied by the magical beasts on the ground, immediately raised her vision as soon as she heard Kai's shout. She found a huge blaze in the air and acknowledged what Kai feared. "It's the intelligent beast, the eagle." Wait a minute. In the ground, the turtle is also marching its way. With a size that big, it will trample our barrier. Kai thought for a moment and shouted back, "Tasha, handle that eagle. I don't know if it will work against another wind element, but Isabel is better to focus on your current task." "Roger that." The two agreed with his order and moved accordingly. Tasha raised her aim a little bit and released her first arrow, lightning arrow. The arrow flew to the sky, and a magic circle appeared. The arrow turned into lightning, striking forth. The eagle noticed this and opened its mouth. Instead of stopping the lightning with its wind, it released its breath that turned out to be a fire. The breath itself formed a fireball and hit the lightning, extinguishing it in an instant. The fireball didn't end there. It continued to the ground, hitting the spot behind Kai and Michelle. Seeing this, Tommy and Nicholas, who kept watching the situation between their walls, immediately took off their night vision goggles. A fire explosion with a night vision was nasty. It would become too bright for their eyes to handle. The same applied to Evan, while Eve and Eva luckily didn't face the explosion, so they didn't get this kind of shock. Despite experiencing the excruciating pain in their eyes, they looked at each other and nodded, maintaining the wall intact. Unfortunately, a part was already broken, but they didn't want to let it be the downfall of their wall, so they cut the other part and maintained the shorter part, where Kai and Michele's were. "Kai, we are abandoning the other half," Tommy shouted, reporting what he was doing. "Understood. There is a chance that it will turn worse when the turtle is reaching this place, so ready for a battle I will be taking that turtle." Kai nodded. "Michaels, back me up." "Okay." The two nodded simultaneously and followed him when he was about to move. They once again stormed the enemy rank, destroying them like there was no tomorrow. Meanwhile, Tasha, whose arrow got destroyed, furrowed her eyebrows. She never expected that the eagle actually had fire magic instead of wind, which was supposed to be their general element. In this case, Isabel's wind element would be pretty useless against it. She thought for a moment and chose another plan to take it down. There was no doubt in her eyes as she took a different type of arrow. She smiled and released it to the sky. Seeing another incoming arrow, the eagle didn't take it lightly. It opened its mouth again, using the same technique to destroy Tasha's arrow. This time, it specifically targeted Tasha, who seemed to be in the way. When the fireball was about to hit the arrow, Tasha smiled and raised her hand. "This is my present." Explode. The lightning she concealed in that arrow sparked, causing a short circuit in that arrow. This was the arrow that Ayaka had specifically prepared for her, so the effect of that was obvious. Boom. The arrow exploded and swallowed the fireball, causing another explosion in the sky. Before the eagle could react, another arrow pierced through the flame caused by the explosion and headed straight to the eagle. Seeing that dangerous arrow, the eagle tried to dodge it, albeit it was too late. It only managed to move its body away, resulting in the arrow hitting its right wing. The eagle couldn't fly anymore and began to fall. "Isabel," Tasha called the one beside her while releasing another arrow to the sky. "Leave it to me." She nodded and changed her aim, shooting the eagle with her bullet. The eagle wanted to dodge it again, but the bullet was faster than the arrow by a little bit and pierced its body. Of course, the speed difference was minimized by Tasha's lightning magic, so it was normal for an arrow to have a bullet speed. Else, there was no way they would consider bow as another weapon. Without showing mercy to the eagle that was practically dead, Tasha's arrow hit the sky and summoned the magic circle. Lightning struck forth, hitting the eagle and roasting it. "You are merciless." Isabel smiled while commenting on her style. "We should make sure if it's death or not. You check if it's still alive after all that or not. I will handle the aerial monsters for 10 seconds. Tasha paid no heed of her comment and focused on the task. "Okay." Isabel kept following the eagle to see whether it was dead or not. After all, the body was still intact. After it hit the ground, she released another shot to practically destroy its body. "Now, you are the one merciless." Tasha used her own word to tease her. However, the two only smiled at each other. Meanwhile, Kai kept advancing despite so many magical beasts coming his way. When he breached the gap once again, and the gap was gone, allowing more beasts to reach him, Michelle swung their swords, creating lines of fire for Kai's shadow slash. Seeing the two lines next to him, he smiled while listening to their movement that seemed to be going to his side, ready to face those who would come his way while he fought the turtle. Kai then narrowed his eyes, focusing his attention on the turtle. The size itself wasn't that big, only twice his height, so around 3.5 meters. What made this turtle dangerous was its jaws, so he would be avoiding it, which made his course clear. "You two make sure you can escape. I will be hopping on its back to kill it." Besides, unlike the normal turtle, a snapping turtle won't hide inside its shell, so I will shortly kill it. "Roger. Do your best, darling." The dark Michelle gave a thumb up, while the real Michelle only nodded, not wanting to say anything because her other side was here. Kai shook his head helplessly as he raised his vision. The range was enough for him to hop on its back. However, The snapping turtle seemed to understand what he planned to do and stomped the ground, creating a crater that threw his balance off. Kai shortened his steps to stabilize his movement, but the attack earlier turned out to be a fake. The real attack came from the ground beneath him that suddenly emerged, launching himself to the sky. At the same time, there were two orangcakes on the side, throwing a big stone toward him. Kai narrowed his eyes and clenched his swords even tighter. I am sorry, but I am not the man who I used to be. Kai struck the two boulders. The sonic boom that it released splashed on the boulder, cracking it. Using that crack, Kai used more strength and cut it in half. A magic circle then appeared above him, blowing him toward the turtle's head. The moment he landed, the turtle had its head pierced by the sonic sword as Kai let out a breath of relief. It's the end. Chapter 375. Reaching their destination. It's over. The turtle screamed in pain as it flung its head for the sake of removing Kai from his head. Noticing that the turtle had yet to die, he gripped his sword even tighter to hang on until the turtle died, but the latter seemed to be more powerful than he thought. Despite waiting for half a minute, it was still pretty energetic, making him wonder if he missed his target, the brain. Since it didn't die, Kai continued his second plan. Due to this swinging head, he pierced the head once more with his other sword, so he could slowly walk to its neck, like playing a ski. It was a bit hard, but Kai managed to reach it half a minute later. He pulled the sword in his main hand and swung horizontally, cutting the turtleneck with his sonic sword until the head fell off. He then leaped on the turtle's back to avoid being launched and watched how the turtle died. We are done here. Take off your goggles if you don't want to hurt your eyes, Kai commanded out loud. The group immediately followed his instruction. Knowing that the order was a hint from Kai, Ayaka flew toward him and clapped her hand. A magic circle appeared next to the turtle. Kai and Micheles immediately retreated from that place as Ayaka activated the magic circle. Scarlet explosion. Boom. The explosion engulfed hundreds of monsters. Due to the turtle, they gathered around him quite a bit, so this explosion was the most effective to wipe them out. In a rough calculation, Ayaka just killed around 300 beasts in a single explosion, let alone the shockwave it produced. 2 more explosions, and we will deal with the remaining beasts. Kai thought 2 more would be the most optimal option before he and the others changed their plan. Ayaka acknowledged his command and immediately released 2 more explosions in succession. She simply chose the densest place where many beasts gathered to make it more effective, and she was quite lucky to kill almost 700 in 3 explosions alone. Normally, she could be considered lucky if she could kill 500 within 10 explosions. The influence that the intelligent beasts were indeed strong. And it was at this time, Kai noticed something more about the intelligent beasts. It seemed the reason they could easily control the beasts around them, because they were smart enough to comprehend their language. Normal beasts respected those who could speak in their language since they could literally talk with them. At the same time, it was a kind of rank among the magical beasts themselves. Kai wanted to learn about those languages as soon as possible, hoping that this mission could give him a chance for it. Although he couldn't show it easily to others, it would become handy if he could use it to protect himself during an alone mission. Nonetheless, Kai needed to end the fight first before he could think of another topic. Seeing that the beasts on the land remained only a few hundreds, he decided to move to the sky that seemed to have around 300 flying beasts. A magic circle appeared beneath his feet and launched him to the sky, specifically toward one of the flying beasts. He slashed its head, killing it immediately before moving to another target with his sound blast. At the same time, Isabelle and Michelle continued raining these beasts with their attacks to reduce their number. Ayaka and the others focused on the ground, making sure they finished everything first before helping Kai, albeit they both finished at the same time. They just fought more than 2,000 beasts within an hour. This easily exceeded their record during their mission in Amazon forest, but it was certainly because they gathered around the turtle and eagle that made them an easier target. After killing them, he let the others rest first while he took his radio to call the base. This is Kai Carter, over. This is Peru military base with me, Osland. How can I help you, sir? On the way, I have gotten a new mission that there are more than 2,000 magical beasts standing in our way. It turned out that they were moving toward the base. We have eliminated them since they met us, So please confirm that mission later with the general and send some soldiers to pick their bodies and cores. Copy that. I will pass the message to the general. Is there any other message, Sir Kai Carter? Nope, that's all. We will continue on our personal mission. Over, understood. I wish you luck. The guy behind the radio then disconnected. Kai also turned off his radio and headed back to the camp. So, what are we going to do? Michelle asked while seeing the camp and the mountain of corpses. Do you expect us to sleep near this stinky blood? Of course not, Tasha. Teleport us 100 meters back, along with the trucks and equipment. We will continue our way tomorrow, full speed, without the teleportation magic. That's all. Thank you for your hard work. Kai smiled. Tasha nodded and teleported them according to Kai's instruction. The stench of the blood that prevented them from sleeping had gone, so they started relaxing themselves to calm their heart down from the earlier adrenaline rush. The dark Michelle didn't forget to flirt with Kai until Michelle unsummoned her. The group didn't forget to tease her because they knew about her secret and only stopped after getting another threat from Michelle. In the end, it took them 2 hours before they could sleep again. Since it was him accepting the mission, he offered to be on the lookout. They disagreed at first, but Kai told them that he would sleep on the truck during the day since all of them were awake, so there wouldn't be a problem if he slept since Ayaka or Isabel could take over. The next day, they did their usual activities in the morning and immediately packed their equipment to start their journey as soon as possible. After doing a few things, he then fell asleep. There was no need for replies from the general regarding the horde, since they would see it when they arrived here. The group continued their journey peacefully. There were no magical beasts appearing in their way, because Tasha and the others had destroyed them before they reached the truck. Although the range wasn't as far as Kai's ears, Isabel kept watching out their surroundings with her powerful eyes, and Sophia tried to see if there was a blaze somewhere. That would threaten their group. Eventually, they reached their destination without meeting another trouble, and Kai had his good night's sleep inside the truck, where he could lay down on a sleeping bag since the truck was long enough. Kai and the group came out of the trucks and took a look at this ruin, which was supposed to be their real mission. They had passed mountains just to arrive here, so it took them quite an effort. However, they couldn't venture inside yet because it was already 4 p.m. Look at that massive building. Isabel pointed at the corral. A giant building that looked like an altar. This place had been dug up once by the archaeologists before the apocalypse, but due to the passing time, it began to be covered with sand again. No. You should focus on that building. We need to go inside and search for every nook and corner. Tasha shook her head. It will be a long time for all of you. No. It's a bigger problem for those on the outside. Take a look at its surroundings. There are many magical beasts there. We need to start cleaning those right away. Michelle focused on the magical beasts instead. There were around 1,000 monsters surrounding the altar. Even Kai acknowledged it since he also found more and more in their surroundings. If they came here together, it would become a bit troublesome. So, are we going to set up a camp there right now? Ayaka asked while glancing at Tasha that could teleport them inside the building territory. No, we will camp here because it's a bit far from any monsters around. Kai shook his head. Still, he couldn't help but furrow his eyebrows when he felt something was wrong with this carol. This place hid something that he couldn't see what it was. In the end, Kai asked Sophia, "Do you see anything right now?" The group widened their eyes as they looked at Sophia curiously. With Kai asking that question, it meant he was suspicious of something. Unfortunately, Sophia only shook her head. "Nothing. I think we won't find anything in this place. Nothing is absolute before we do it," Kai shrugged. "So, have you found something?" she asked back. "Not really, but there is this feeling of missing something. Unfortunately, I don't know what, and I can't even describe it," Kai sighed. "Is that so? It will be an interesting place then." Isabel smirked, becoming fired up. No, don't start yet. We will make our plan here. First of all, the group will be separated according to the previous arrangement. For the detail, I want you to start clearing the monsters around there and move toward that area. Kai pointed his finger around the field before summoning his radar. The group saw the radar and found so many magical beasts near them. Michelle and Tommy looked a bit concerned since they would be in charge when Kai and the others went inside. "We understand." They both nodded. "All right then. You will handle the details yourself. Let's build our camp." Kai nodded. "But if I need to say, the circle next to the building is the one getting my attention. The group fell silent and took a mental note before putting down their equipment again. Chapter 376, Inca Empire and Nazca Lines. Kai's word was taken seriously. Even after resting for a whole night, they couldn't help but look at the circle the next day. The circle was visible from their place, and there shouldn't be anything special in that circle since there was no roof or something that could hide something underneath them. Even Sophia tried to look at it with her eyes, but to no avail. There wasn't a danger or something in that place, unlike the statues on Easter Island. In the end, the group separated according to their role. They gathered again near the trucks as Kai gave a signal to Tasha. "Can you teleport us to the area next to the circle? It will be our campground." Tasha nodded and teleported them. As soon as they reached the place, Kai immediately let them do their own job. "All right, the first group can start killing the magical beasts near our area. If there is something wrong, I will come out and inform all of you. At least one of you should bring a radio if you are planning to go a bit farther from here." Ayaka nodded and grabbed a radio from the truck while Michelle scouted the area. "In that case, good luck." He nodded before turning around. Facing the wall of the circle, Sophia placed her hand on the ground and summoned a magic circle. Staircases then emerged from the ground, allowing them to climb the wall without a problem. "Thanks." Kai nodded and looked at the group. "Let's go." Evan, Sophia, Tasha, Isabel immediately followed him, entering the so-called ancient civilization ruin. Since they were basically right next to the circle, they leaped to the ground, perfectly in the middle of the circle, before looking around. It has been excavated perfectly in the past, but it seems this will take a lot of work. Sophia let out a long sigh. "Indeed," Kai nodded, seeing the dust that had covered the ground and wall. "For now, just clean it a little bit and check whether you can find something weird in this place." The group nodded and looked around the circle. "Now that I think about it, isn't Peru known for its Nazca lines?" Sophia thought something from a tourist perspective, Nazca lines. Tasha tilted her head since she never learned anything about tourism. "It's a giant image of something that humans built in the past." Kai gave a simple explanation. "What kind of image? I think I have heard it somewhere, but I don't think it's something important. There is no use for those images, no." Tasha tried to recall this matter. "Yes, but those people were normal humans. Unlike us, we might see something differently. Do you have any thought about it, Kai?" Sophia smiled. "Let me open the images first." Kai didn't give an immediate answer and opened the link to search about it on the internet. There are many images from a spider, a tree, a hummingbird, and so on. Suddenly, Kai fell silent after finding something that piqued his interest. It was the image of a whale. Unlike a normal whale, this one had a horn or something above its head. Due to the constant meeting with others that mentioned the whale continuously, its name couldn't help but stick in his mind. He wondered whether this whale here was the same as the one mentioned by those people. If that were the truth, it would open a big potential regarding this matter, and one that he couldn't talk to anyone but himself and his teacher. After all, the fact that these animals got animated into this form, it would mean they had the same status as the whale. In other words, all of them were also a protector of their own race. Other than the pink dolphin and sloth, there might be more and more protectors than he thought, and they were hiding somewhere, ready to make their appearance when the world became unstable again. He furrowed his eyebrows and felt trouble would come soon, especially when dealing with those monsters from the sea. "Kai." Sophia noticed Kai's condition and called his name, but to no avail. Kai remained in his world, trying to figure out something. She called him again, "Kai oi." Kai's body shook as if he was startled by it. He shouldn't have such a reaction with those ears, so it made him even more suspicious. What happened? No, Kai shook his head repeatedly. "I just lost in thought." Since Kai refused to answer, she didn't continue prying about this matter. "Is that so? Just be careful, all right?" "Yes, thanks." Kai took a deep breath and sighed. Whether what he speculated was right or not would only matter in the future after getting more information. The simplest way would be calling the whale from the shore that was supposed to be under the Pacific Ocean. But he wasn't sure whether this one was hostile or not, especially since he was the one calling her. Unlike Rapaka, who had a history with her, or the pink dolphin that was supposed to be her student, Kai was just a newborn protector that didn't have their ability, or know the language. In other words, he didn't have anything to show other than his ears. Hence, Kai chose to lock that kind of thought for the time being. He had around a year to get more and more information, not only from this continent, but also from the other continent, especially Europe. He would surely find something or so what he believed. This really sucks. I need to learn everything and talk to them to ensure that the humans don't have something to threaten them. If not, there will be a big war to wipe out the humans' highs. Why the heck I need to protect the human race when I can't even talk to anyone about this? Kai thought while letting out a long sigh. Anyway, are we going to check the Nazca lines? Sophia asked. Kai thought for a moment. I think we can check them, but not all of them. Maybe only one or two, because we are on a tight schedule. There are two images that I am interested in. They are the spider and the whale. Sophia frowned, thinking about his choice. It wasn't really that weird to think about these two. First of all, they had encountered an S-rank magical beast, which was a spider, so this would surely interest him. As for the whale, she didn't know about the talk with the pink dolphin, so her assumption was related to Rapika, who mentioned the whale. All right then. But why are only these two? I mean, we should be able to pack up a few more since this place won't take too much time, Sophia asked while the others were listening. Kai shook his head. Even if you want, I can only allow you to investigate one more pattern. That's all. Other than these images, I want to see the supposed Inca Empire, precisely the Machu Picchu and the stronghold Sacsayhuaman. Isabel was the first to recognize these two places. Machu Picchu is a citadel of the Inca Empire, while the latter is literally a stronghold. From what I know, Inca Empire is one of the oldest civilizations that the Inca were able to construct, one of the greatest imperial states in human history, without the use of the wheel, draft animals, knowledge of iron or steel, or even a system of writing. It's very mystical. So no wonder you are interested in it. Maybe because of this weirdness. You want to see whether the Inca Empire actually built all those things with the use of magic and stuff. Yes. Kai nodded. Of course, it was said that the Inca Empire was conquered, but there is a possibility. Never mind. Kai seemed to become a bit more mysterious after coming back from his training. He often hid something like this, making them wonder. However, Tasha understood that reason. If he said something too much, and it was traced all the way to his real identity, there would be a huge reaction from both the government and the citizens. Even Sophia might become his enemies in the future. To prevent that, Kai couldn't say something that was related to his identity. Seeing this, Tasha patted his shoulder and smiled as if telling him that it was all right not to say anything. The burden on his shoulders was far too heavy than everyone could imagine, so she only wished to be able to help him when the time came. Kai nodded and sighed. Anyway, that's the basic reason for my current plan. If you don't have any questions, let's continue our mission. Just one question, Sophia asked before becoming hesitant while glancing over Tasha. She thought he didn't talk about it because Isabel and Evan were here, but Tasha seemed to know it. In that case, this one might be something that only he and his girls knew about it. It also meant that Sophia was not important enough in his heart. She couldn't help but feel disappointed. Shaking her head, she brushed the matter and turned around, continuing what she did earlier. Kai understood her action perfectly and said, "It's not about that. This is something that the government and my family don't know." Hearing this, she got a bit better because only a few people would know about this. If he told her that the girls also knew this matter, she would feel jealous. With the way he worded it, there was a possibility that the girls also didn't. No. In that case, there was the absolute person who should know about this, Ria Ross. Considering she was already involved in this matter, she decided not to put another thought to it since it might be related to his current life. Nodding her head, she continued her work without feeling down anymore. Chapter 377. Weird feeling. Kai, come here. I think I have found something, Isabel shouted. Although most of the ornaments were already covered with dust, she could still somehow figure it out due to the slight difference from an ordinary wall. After wiping out the dust with her hands, she saw a certain symbol. Hearing her voice, he quickly came to Isabel to see what she found. This is a symbol. The drawing consisted of a few horizontal lines with a dot between them. I am not sure. Isabel shook her head. I thought it was a Morse code at first, but the dot and the line were not aligned. So, I tried to see the other symbols, but they were in a similar pattern with lines and dots, maybe a language. I am not very sure. Alex shook his head. Can you find something on the internet? Maybe a published paper or record? I have tried, but I can't find any related results about this. I can find a few pictures of this, but I don't think I can find anything more than that. She was slightly disappointed, since there was no use in her finding this thing. Well, the internet has already found this so that we can ask someone in the base regarding this symbol. Kai nodded, assuring her it was fine. However, a weird feeling suddenly crept in his heart, as if something was calling for him. Kai. Noticing this, Isabel frowned and checked his body. Do you find something? Or maybe hear something? No, I didn't hear anything weird, but there is this feeling that makes me a bit anxious. Kai pressed his chest while Isabel checked his face. He looked a bit pale, so she tried to help him sit on the ground. What is that feeling earlier? Kai took a few deep breaths. He just got slightly uncomfortable after having that feeling. But he was fine now. I don't know, I didn't feel anything. She shook her head. There might be something here since you have such a reaction. She narrowed her eyes. Yes, I believe so. What did you feel? Can you describe it to me? Isabel feared that the feeling earlier was a kind of danger during this mission. Hence, it was better to stop the investigation before they got to the point of no return. I think I am fine. The feeling itself was a kind of anger. I don't feel there is something wrong with my body from that, only a bit uncomfortable because of it. Kai thought for a moment. Still, if I need to choose a word to describe it, it's anger. Anger. Isabel frowned. Yes. Kai paused. That anger is not directed to me. No. I should say that the one making this symbol was angry. Heshi was expressing that in this symbol I mean, like how a painter or any other creative jobs, they could somehow transmit their emotion when doing their job. Right. Isabel nodded in agreement. It's a kind of like that. It still doesn't make sense. Why could you feel it, but I couldn't? If it's something like that, I should be able to feel it too. Don't ask me. Besides, the symbol is literally on the top corner of a corridor. Are you sure this is it? She asked again, confirming everything. Yes. The feeling indeed came from this symbol. I still can't understand the situation. Should I call Evan here? I think I am fine. I don't feel anything more right now, so maybe it's a one-time thing. Isabel remained hesitant, but she decided to nod her head, trusting Kai's decision. All right, but I should keep accompanying you while we are looking around. If we pass Tasha, I will hand you over to her. Yes, thank you. Kai took a few deep breaths and rose from the ground. He stretched his body a bit to see if there was anything wrong or not. After confirming there was no more discomfort, he nodded to Isabel as if saying he had recovered. How many symbols have you found? Let me calculate the symbols in this room. She narrowed her eyes while beginning to scrub the sand off the symbols to see whether they were really a symbol or not. In the meantime, Kai checked all the symbols to see whether he would feel the same thing again. He even helped Isabel in scrubbing the dust off. Unknowingly, they had spent a few hours just to clean them up, but the result was amazing. Isabel and Kai had their back touched as they looked around. Do you see what I see? Absolutely. I think we need to call everyone else. Kai nodded with a serious expression. I agree, but don't you want to count them first? She asked. I can help you there. And you don't have any more discomfort, right? Yes. I believe this is a kind of language, Isabel said while counting the symbols in the corridor. I have the same opinion, but there is nothing like that on the internet. If we have some kinds of experts deciphering the symbols, we might be able to learn the truth about what happened. Indeed. Maybe they did find this back in the days, but their research disappeared when the world became a ruin. After all, other than those that were already spread over the internet, most of the classified data were destroyed when the magical beasts overturned the civilizations. Yes, they saved it online after all. Well, I can certainly agree with that kind of treatment since it's easy to get into their online database. But now we are completely clueless about this. Kai let out a long sigh. Ha ha, we can only work hard for it. Isabel brushed the matter off with a laugh. By the way, how is your relationship with Evan? Everything is fine, right? Kai asked. Yes. Evan always hesitated in our relationship because we were zodiacs. However, thanks to your medicine, he stopped hesitating, so our relationship isn't that brittle anymore. Thank you. No problem. I still want to laugh at the fact that we first start from oppositions, especially due to an idiotic reason. Kai chuckled. I am embarrassed to see the past me, to think I was that immature. Well, that loss woke me up, and I am glad to know you as a friend. Me too. Kai smiled. Well, if you have trouble, just call me, especially if the matter is regarding Evan. I will kick his ass for you. You don't need to. My kick is the strongest. For various reasons, Isabel smirked. Evan seems to be scared of you that much. I wonder what will happen when… Never mind. Kai decided to stop before he mentioned the matter about the little girl from the EU base. If you are talking about Elisa, I don't have a problem myself. Although it feels suck, I can somehow understand if that happens. I mean, in the past, I was taught to be someone's mistress because I didn't have talent. So now, I don't really have a problem as long as he is open to it. She shrugged. Well, I have talked to Michelle, Tasha, and Ayaka and learned a lot from them. I just need to make sure he doesn't stray from his path. Besides, like you, he also respects me as a woman and acknowledges my opinion. As long as he doesn't have a drastic change, I believe our relationship will remain the same. Kai smiled and nodded. I wish you the best. Thank you. Isabel smiled. By the way, I have finished counting. There are 74 symbols. Kai furrowed his eyebrows. What is it? Do you find something? I don't know. I feel like the number is very familiar. Kai frowned. Where did I hear it? No, I didn't hear it, but… After contemplating for a few minutes, he suddenly picked up his device and browsed the research paper again. Take a look at this. Isabel came closer to him and looked at the article. There are many Nazca lines. Hundreds are simple lines and geometric shapes, but more than 70 are zoomorphic designs. Do you mean these zoomorphic designs? What is zoomorphic anyway? It derives from the Greek, meaning animal in shape or form. It can be considered a symbol for an animal, Kai explained. So, does this mean something? She asked. I think so. They might have the same number as the Nazca lines for animals, so I think the Nazca lines and these symbols are related. For example, hearing this, Isabel continued his words and came to a realization. They are the names for animals. Yes. Kai nodded with a serious expression. Then, do you find anything about the earlier feeling? No, but I still believe that symbol is somewhat special. I will take their pictures and mark the one that you deem special. I want you to ask Evan to check your condition and ask them to come here. Isabel still felt concerned about his condition, even though there was nothing happening during the past few hours. All right, I will do that. Then hurry up. Isabel rolled her eyes. Fine. Kai then walked across the corridor, heading straight to Evan's position with his ears as his guide. In the meantime, Isabel picked her device and started recording a video while taking some photos. She tried to look at the symbol that made Kai weird from any angle, but nothing happened to her, so she thought Kai was a special case. Just like how he solved the mystery in Easter Island, he might probably get something from this place as well. She shrugged and continued her job. Kai also found Evan after walking for a few minutes. Evan, can you take a look at my condition? Kai shouted from afar. His voice echoed in the corridor. But to his surprise, Evan didn't answer him or anything, as if he didn't hear him. Kai furrowed his eyebrows. According to his ears, there was nothing wrong with the sound in Evan's body. It was normal, but Kai still took out his swords while approaching with caution. Suddenly, Evan turned around. Chapter 378. Ghost. Wah. Kai gasped and gradually lowered his swords. Who are you? Although there was no change in his appearance, he could see that his eyes were shallow, as if something went inside of him. However, Kai's voice didn't go through his ears as he said, They are enemies. As soon as the words came out of his mouth, Evan collapsed to the ground. Kai still didn't know whether Evan was all right or not, so he didn't catch him. He checked Evan's condition first with his ears before coming closer. Oi, Evan. Are you all right? Kai poked his head with his sword, trying to check if he would come again. Nee. Evan let out a groan as his eyes slowly opened. His eyes were blurry, but he could recognize Kai's figure. Captain, oi, are you all right? Kai asked again. What do you mean? Evan asked while looking around, noticing that he was on the ground. He quickly rose while asking out loud, What? Why am I on the floor? Did something happen to me? You were possessed, I guess. Kai wasn't sure whether it was a possession or not, but that was the closest one. Possessed what? Evan walked a few steps back, scared. No. I don't want to get possessed. Force whoever possessed me out. I am not sure myself. I didn't hear anything weird this whole time, so I thought you knew something. I don't know. All I did was search around this area, and I am still searching that area. That's why I don't know why I am on the floor earlier. Kai blinked his eyes a few times. So, ghosts are real. No ghost is not real, Evan screamed while covering his ears with his hands. Don't tell me you are afraid of ghosts. Kai made a weird smile. He thought that he would get a response from Evan like, what? He still didn't believe in ghosts, even though magic is real or something along the lines, but to think Evan was this scared of ghosts. Ah, isn't it a given? Evan shrilled. You should go to a place where so many people died. You will surely see something happening before your eyes. And my job is to save those who are still alive among those who are already dead, so I often saw them. I hate them. Kai tilted his head in confusion. I thought because you often worked in that kind of place, you would have gotten used to it. Are you an idiot? They are evil. I hate them. They often pulled a prank on me, even though I tried to save their fallen comrades. Evan gritted his teeth, remembering all the things that happened to him. Really, what will you do when you are sleeping after saving those soldiers, and they flip your bed, and you do it hundreds of times? You will know my feelings. Okay, I know, calm down a little, will you? Kai sighed. Evan took a few deep breaths while looking around to make sure nothing happened. Let's go back, shall we? I have found something. Kai smiled, trying to gather because he thought it would be the best way to calm Evan down. Besides, he didn't think Evan would investigate the ruin alone anymore because of what just happened to him. So, what did you find? Symbols that might be a language of the past and one time I felt? Kai didn't continue, as he had two thoughts in mind. The first was the feeling he had earlier actually came from the ghost. The ghost might want to possess him and tell Isabel something. However, since it wasn't working, the spirit possessed Evan, and there would be another person that the ghost might possess. This wouldn't be good because Kai needed to take care of his teammates' well-being. The second thought was, the thing Evan or the ghost blurted out earlier was related to the feeling he had. The ghost might want to warn him about the symbol that might signify a race, and told him that they were enemies that couldn't be trusted. The problem would be, he didn't know which one was correct. How do we call a ghost again? I want to ask some questions. Kai couldn't help but mutter. What, are you insane? No, I don't want to get into this kind of job. Kai scratched the back of his head. Maybe I will ask someone if they have a person who can talk to a spirit or summon a ghost. You serious? Yes. I will be able to get more information that way. Kai nodded with a serious expression. Can I quit your group during that kind of mission? Feel free. I won't force you if it makes you uncomfortable. After all, I pity you the moment I listened to your reasons. I thought you were scared because of a certain story when you were a kid. Are you freaking kidding me? There is no way I will be scared if it's only something like that. It's just like how you are scared of your teacher because of your trauma. Evan rebuked him in a high pitch. I know. That's why I can understand your feelings. Kai patted his shoulders. Anyway, I will do my own job regarding this matter. Of course, we will continue the investigation, but I think it's fine to do it in a group of two. Evan let out a long sigh. So, what are we doing now? I will lead you to Isabel before searching for Tasha and Sophia. Evan nodded. He didn't want to deal with ghosts anymore, so he accepted his idea even though the best way was for them to grab the two first, before regrouping with Isabel. One more question. Did Isabel know this? Why do you want to know? Evan narrowed his eyes while his heart skipped a beat. I don't need your answer anymore since your body is more honest. I will tell her, of course. Kai chuckled, teasing him to loosen Evan's body. He certainly felt how deep the trauma he had with ghosts. This will be amusing. Why, you bastard! Evan shouted. Kai immediately ran toward Isabel. Not long after, Evan was sitting down on the corner of the room, sulking because Kai told Isabel his secret before leaving. Isabel, on the other hand, hadn't talked about it with him yet. After seeing how Evan reacted, she walked toward him and bent down. What? Are you going to tease me too? Evan pouted. On the contrary, Isabel only hugged him as she said, It must be hard for you, right? Should I accompany you when you are healing injured soldiers? Maybe I can do something about it. Evan fell silent and felt terrible to have doubted her. Sorry. It's fine. Scared might be hilarious, but trauma is another thing. What you have is not the former but the latter. That's why I am concerned about you. She sighed. Thanks. Please rely on me more. I will. That's good then. Rest here first while I am searching if I can find another symbol in this place. Evan looked at her and asked, Did the captain find something here? And do you need help? Isabel thought for a moment and nodded. Sure, I need your help. As for the captain, I will tell you while working. Is that fine? Evan made a smile and rose from the floor, starting to help her. Meanwhile, Kai found Tasha in another corridor. Tasha. Because of what happened earlier, he was still on guard, not daring to approach others easily. Tasha turned around and found Kai with a stance. What happened to you? Are you going to ambush me or something? Or don't tell me you want to do it here. I don't think you have this kind of fetish. Hearing her response, he felt relief. It meant Tasha was her usual self. I just wanted to grab you to gather in Isabel's position, Sophia next, Kai explained. Oh, did you find something? Kinda. That's why I want you all to gather first, so I don't need to explain twice. Let's go grab Sophia, then I will go with you, Tasha nodded. By the way, I don't find anything that requires me to use my space magic. That's the reason why you want me here, right? Yes. Besides, I can immediately help the first group with you here. Unfortunately, I can't really make a pinpoint teleportation in a closed space, let alone a labyrinth like this. She shrugged. It's fine. It won't take too long. Kai smiled and started walking. By the way, did you find anything? I only found a few things that didn't have any value to us. Well, they could become money, but that's not important right now. So, no other information. Kai nodded. A few minutes later, they found Sophia, who was cleaning up a particular room. The room was just a kitchen, considering he saw a queue with a small hole for firewood. It should be the traditional oven or something. Reminded of what happened to Evan, he asked Tasha to stop by tapping her shoulder twice. Although she was confused about his action, she still let him do anything he wanted. Kai gradually came closer and called her name. Sophia. Sophia glanced back and saw Kai and Tasha. What are you two doing? You are not doing it in this kind of place, right? All right. You are the normal Sophia. Kai nodded a few times. We are going to gather right now, so I am here to grab you. Oh, Sophia nodded. Sure. Sophia took another look at the room to see whether she missed something. All is good. After a while, she nodded and turned back, following Kai as they returned to Isabel and Evan. Chapter 3079. A Helper. That's how it is. Inside the room filled with symbols, Kai explained his doubt about all these symbols. So, a ghost possessed Evan and told you that it was dangerous. It's, in his mouth, was pointing at the symbol that you felt different from the rest. And considering these symbols were probably the same as those Nazca lines, or you can say another language that described the name of the animals. Tasha simplified his story in 3 sentences. Yes, that's basically the problem. Well, if this is true, it's something important. I can ask my teacher for a personal team to decipher the symbols now that we have known what it means. Kai nodded. So, what are we going to do? She asked. Are we going to end this investigation now? Nope. We will continue for 1 week before traveling around to see the Nazca lines and the stronghold. However, since there might be a hidden danger in this ruin, we will have a group of 2. Isabel will go together with Evan, while you with Sophia. I will be staying here for the time being to discuss this matter with teacher. Kai then turned to Evan. I don't have a problem. Evan nodded. No. I am asking whether you have checked my body to see if there is something wrong. I tried to heal it, but there was no effect, so I guess it's okay. Evan nodded. All right then. And since you don't have the problem with this arrangement, we can rest here for a few more minutes. Kai then looked at Isabel. Did you find anything else? Nope. There are indeed 74 symbols. Isabel shook his head. Okay, thank you. Kai smiled before rising from the floor. He went to a window and came out to the roof of that room and called Rhea Ross. What happened? It's rare to have you call me during a mission. Do you encounter a problem? Looking at the time span, you should be in Corral, right? Yes. I have a matter to discuss. But before that, you are eating properly, right? Don't worry. It's at least twice a day. Kai paused and sighed. Well, it's better than when you often skip a day's worth of meals. Haha. Don't worry about an adult like me, kid. But you are not a responsible adult. How can I not worry? Kai shrugged. You have gotten good with your words, huh? So, what happened? I want to create a group to decipher symbols of the past. Ho symbols, what kind? You know, Nazca lines, those huge drawings, right? Yes. We have found something regarding this. It's... Kai began explaining the matter again. After answering a few questions from Ria, he asked, "So, how is it? Okay. I will talk to the president about this. Since he has more connections than me in this area, I will just give this matter to him. Besides, I believe his cousin is dealing with this." Right. Kai suddenly remembered a certain woman figure who he met on Easter Island. I see. She is a good choice, since I know her personally. Yup. The president will probably give the mission to her, and she will be handling the recruitments. If you don't have a problem with this, I can ask him after finishing this matter in hand. Sorry for troubling you, teacher. Sure. And how much can I say about this matter? Ria didn't want to blurt anything regarding his identity, so she needed to ask him first to see how much the relation between him and this matter. I think it's fine to tell everything. Just make sure there is no slip-up about my identity. Okay then. If this is proven to be true, we might be on a high alert. And what do you think about the ruins? I'm not sure myself. I still can't understand why there are so many Nazca lines, and my assumption is a bit crazy. What is your assumption? Those pictures are protectors of the past. Many of them may have died, but there are some who survive. And the other drawings with different patterns describe something hidden or what happened in the past. That's indeed a wild guess, but it's something worth considering. I won't hint the president with anything related to the protectors. Thank you. Kai smiled. If there is no progress, I will probably go to another place where I can find an ancient civilization and ask them myself. It might be the language of another race, after all. Now that I think about it, why could the ghost understand our language? Was it really just because it possessed Evan? I couldn't wrap my mind about this. Kai's expression turned serious. He just realized it. If the ghost were someone from the past, the way it talked would follow what he understood, unless the ghost could gain memory and understanding from the host. He wasn't familiar with ghosts, so he didn't know about this. He thought for a moment. There are multiple possibilities. First, the ghost is just fiction, and everything was just someone else's magic. To use magic like this where I couldn't even track it with my ears means that he hid pretty well or was too far from this place. If it was the latter, it might be another protector. However, if the first possibility isn't valid, then the second possibility is it learned our language in that instant. There are so many possibilities in this. Kai let out a long sigh after realizing more and more possible futures. Well, we can slowly discover what it is, so you should proceed to what you should do. Yes, I will continue then. Oh, one more thing. What is it? Congratulations on your advancement, Brigadier General Kai Carter. It's already a thing, yes. The top brass sped up some process. Once you are back, you will get the notice. There is even a possibility that you will become a public figure. Ho, Kai frowned. They are planning to send you to Canada again. The volcano becomes more and more unstable, so there is a possibility that it will explode. At that time, you will need to go to reinforce them. This will give you some sort of justification why the government gave all this to you, and it will incite the ambition of young men and women to join the army. A win-win situation. I see. If only this volcano is considered a raid mission next year. Kai sighed. With this kind of timing, I don't think you will have the chance to participate. She laughed. Fair enough. I need to go to the EU base. Kai nodded. Well, Michelle and the others are strong enough now and have enough commanding ability, so I don't need to worry about them. True, that's all. Do you have any questions about your advancement? Nope. All right, I will hang up then. See you later. Yes, see you later. Kai nodded and sighed. He looked at the sky and remembered who was in charge of Yukon Territory, where the volcano was about to blow up. I need to deal with him again, I guess. Kai recalled how Brad Matthew talked every time he met and scratched his head, knowing that this would become a pain in the ass. Anyway, let's finish this mission first. I will think about another thing later. Kai shrugged and leaped back inside the room, finding the room was empty. Since everyone has gone, I should start as well. Kai checked their positions first before going to another place they had yet to discover. Unbeknownst to him, something big was happening on the other side of the planet. Not around that base, but a bit farther away, specifically in United Asia. Haruko was running in the dark while keeping a tab of something behind her. She panted after running away for a while. There are still 4 more. To think it was a trap. Now that my identity has been discovered, it seems trouble will be coming to my family and me. What should I do? Haruko muttered while running. Well, they can disown me to save them temporarily while I am hiding. That's the best solution at the moment. According to the information, there was a huge trade between many families in the northern area that would affect her family that had remained neutral this whole time. And due to this, she took charge of this matter personally and led a group of spies to check the trade. However, it turned out to be an ambush. The other spies already committed suicide right before they got captured while she was injured, but managed to get away. Still, the pursuers kept following her. Is this it? Haruko furrowed her eyebrows, remembering Kai's face. It seems I can't really fulfill my promise to him. Highs. This is why becoming a fighter sucks. One mission can decide one's fate. I wish I had my communication device at a time like this. At least, I can send my last message to him. She sensed the pursuers coming closer before surrounding her. Halting her step, she looked around and found 4 people. It's time to end this chase. Yajima families, Yajima, Haruko, haha. Do you think I am afraid of you? I will fight all of you to the death. Haruko laughed while activating her magic. Unfortunately, you are more precious when you are alive. The 4 assassins signaled each other to attack her. Haruko raised her magic, preparing to strike them. However, a shadow appeared from the side and unsheathed the katana it brought. The next second, the 4 assassins had their heads severed. Haruko widened her eyes, looking at the shadow that turned out to be a woman with a mask. Those 4 were undoubtedly elites of the Katsuragi family. Yet, the woman before her managed to kill them in one slash. It showed how great the difference in their strength was. But if Kai were here, he would surely recognize this person, because she was the one saving him when he almost got killed by beasts and saved by Ria Ross. She looked at Haruko and put down her mask. Gasp. Chapter 380, Teacher Wants to Bring You Trouble. With this, we have wrapped out the investigation. I don't think there is anything important we have left behind, Michelle said while stretching her hands. It had been a week since they started searching around the area. The group didn't find any more evidence that could answer their questions. They also had finished looking into every nook and corner, so they thought it would be better to move on. At the very least, they had a clue that Kai talked about, so it was already a rewarding mission, especially when they came without any expectations. After that, they began roaming around Peru, looking at the 2 Nazca lines and investigating the stronghold for 1 more week. The group left with disappointment because there was no more clue to be found, even though there was some kind of unsolved mystery that had yet to be solved in the previous ruin. In the end, Kai and the group decided to return to the base, resting their tired body from this long mission. After getting separated from Isabel's group, Kai decided to ask the group to discuss something in a restaurant. The group agreed and stopped by a restaurant. While waiting for the food to come, Michelle asked, "So, what is this thing you want to talk about?" "It's about my promotion and next mission. Now that I think about it, it's really the time for your promotion." "Congratulations, Brigadier General Kai Kata," Michelle smirked. Sophia blinked her eyes a few times. She remembered how fast he had that 1 star on his shoulder. Although the top brass was speeding things up and created a few exceptions for him, his ability was a real deal. As expected, the achievement he got from the raid mission, where they defeated the Protectors and S-rank Magician Beast alone, was indeed considerably high. The chance for him to go to EU base became even smaller. Even Sophia couldn't know what to do at this point. "Congrats." The others began congratulating him, while Kai only smiled, receiving it. "So, what is this next mission?" Tasha asked with a serious expression. The celebration was good, but it also meant that Kai would have a bigger responsibility. The job he would do from this point on would be even more dangerous, so she liked to hear it first before getting drunk in the celebration mood. The rest also decided to follow her while Kai took a deep breath, preparing himself to explain. "We are going to fight under General Brad Matthew this time, to withstand the endless onslaught of the magical beasts." With this small information alone, the group already understood the mission. Michelle narrowed his eyes. "Volcano eruption, huh?" "Yes, I don't know the details, but you can expect at least 500,000 beasts migrating to all directions, and we are the ones receiving it. The problem will be how many soldiers we can muster at that moment, because the battlefield will be so big for us to handle. Ayaka let out a long sigh. This is going to be a big pain in the ass. Yes, Kai nodded. This is the first time I'm going to fight in a defensive battle in this massive area. Fair enough. From the looks of it, you won't get any help from any other generals as well. Michelle nodded. So, we will be relying on the officers there. Ayaka looked down. The two that had the most commanding ability beside Kai fell silent as they tried to see what kind of trick they could utilize to play a defensive battle like this. Well, I will try pulling some strings. Knowing that person, he will surely not believe me that much. Kai sighed. Brad Matthew would surely not let him command the soldiers, so he decided to focus on what he could to help the entire situation. It would be better if this were unnecessary, but he didn't know how much they would come. So, do you have any plans? Maybe a general idea of how you fight them? Only a little. Obviously, I will separate my force into 5 to receive the enemies while keeping track of each army so that they can help each other out. Kai shrugged. Anyway, the one who will command most likely not be me, so I will just do whatever I can. Well, that's true. It's better to wait for the mission detail, so yes. The group nodded in agreement. They knew how much thought Kai put on this matter, so they only needed to believe him while trying to help him in their own way. If that's all, then I guess we can consider this as a small party for your promotion, Evan stated with a light-hearted tone. I guess you can. Kai nodded. I have truly pushed you guys too hard because of this. Maybe I can make up with something. It's fine. We have become stronger faster anyway. Yep. The bigger the pressure, the faster someone will grow. Kai smiled and nodded. Well, someone from the government will surely come for promotion. Probably your grandfather again. Tasha glanced at Michelle. Now that you mention it, he always appeared at a time like this. Should I forbid him now? Michelle face-palmed. Nah, it's fine. He is better than an unknown guy. Ayaka shook her head. True. As much as I hate to argue with him, he is the best. Even Sophia approved this matter. All right, just be ready that we will go at any moment's notice, since the volcano might erupt sooner than you think. Kai mentioned the mission again, reminding everyone that they might not have time to spare. Sure. The group then continued their small celebration, wondering how Kai would face the media after this as the youngest general in history. The next day, he and Tasha walked to the school like usual, but there was a commotion right at the school gate. A huge number of soldiers were standing in front of the school gate, cheering for someone. What is this? Tasha asked. They just teleported here, so Kai needed time to see what was going on. There, he heard so many voices. Look, General Rhea Ross is here. Ah, my idol. She is not an S-rank magician, but can achieve the highest ranking among the military. She is practically everyone's idol. That's right. I came to this school because she was an alumnus here. Why did such a person come to this place? I don't know, but, if I am not wrong, her student is in this school. Right, Kai Carter, isn't it? I am so envious. His achievement is also not less than General Rhea Ross. As expected from my idol, you all are just exaggerating his ability. There is no telling whether he achieved all those. Can't you search it on the internet? Even many generals were testifying his achievement. I have never seen him doing that. You fool. This is why you are a clueless student. I was among the soldiers he brought in the raid mission 1 year ago. I saw him charging inside the underground nest like nobody's business. Back then, he truly kept up with his teacher. His ability is a real deal. The talk continued, but Kai already grasped what they were talking about. To put it simply, trouble is coming. Kai twitched his eyebrows. What happened? The students' opinions are diversified, which I have predicted, but if teacher finds me here, they are going to start surrounding me. Kai let out a long sigh. Still, to think that Professor Rhea Ross is the person coming here. Tasha narrowed her eyes. What is she planning? I don't. I fouled up. Kai sighed as Rhea Ross took a peek as soon as she found Kai's presence. Everyone immediately turned their head, following her line of sight. Before they could react, Tasha used her teleportation magic while patting his head. Good luck. Oi, bring me too, Kai said, seeing how Tasha escaped by herself. I have been waiting for you here. Luckily, I have information that you always come through the school gate unless something serious happens. Rhea Ross smiled and waved her hand. Ah, that's Kai Carter. What is this? The meeting between two legendary figures? No. This is a meeting between a teacher and her student. They began spreading the topic of their meeting until it became a complete mess. Kai scratched the back of his head while saying with a troubled face, "Yeah, teacher. I never thought you would visit me. How are you?" "I am great." Rhea Ross smirked, as if she had a plan behind all this. "May I know why you visit me, or are you strictly visiting the school?" Kai asked. "Of course I am here to visit you. I was about to sneak inside the school, but I thought this would be more amusing, so here I am, creating trouble for you." Rhea Ross smiled. She must be enjoying this. Kai wanted to smack her head, but he couldn't afford to, at least with so many witnesses. Besides, I am an alumnus here, so I thought I needed to show my face around. I am glad the students welcome me warmly. Rhea smiled at the students, making them love-struck. Yes, I am glad to hear that you are enjoying yourself. So, for what reason do you come for me?" Kai sighed. "Congratulations on your promotion for becoming the youngest general in history." She smirked, blurting out the thing that would surely baffle every single student in this school. As expected. "Ah, I am really screwed up," Kai thought, as he looked at the students' dumbfounded expressions. "Wah, ah."